Ready? Play.
All right, the final match I want to look forward to in round one is on the men's side, and it is Novak Djokovic against Tien. They have not played before. As I say, sometimes I bring up these head-to-heads expecting to see 0-0, and yet they sometimes have played at some point, as in Mukovan and Venus Williams. But Djokovic and Tien have yet to play each other. Tien currently ranked 48 and at 19. As I say, I was thinking before this North American swing, all right, Lerner, a bit like Alex Ayala in a way. This is your part of the season, I think. You know, you're from the US. Hard courts undoubtedly is your best surface. You've shown some good results this year. You beat Medvedev in Australia. You pushed João Fonseca super close in Miami. And I thought, all right, go and get yourself a quarterfinal or a semifinal at one of these three North American events, either in Washington, in Canada, or Cincinnati, and yet it didn't happen. So yeah, what are you thinking about this match against Novak?
Well, I mean, it's interesting for sure. As I said, like, it's a young American coming up against.
Djokovic is going to be made to work. We know that. Djokovic can win in straight sets, but he's not going to do it by hitting bombs and winners all the time.
Yeah, you can see there he's exactly half his age.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, but like, I mean, Tien though, I mean, he's impressive in the sense that, you know, he's a smart player. I mean, he in the way that he plays like Djokovic, I mean, he plays like a Medvedev. I mean, when he beat Medvedev earlier, obviously in Australia, in terms of, you know, he likes to work his way into the points and sort of wait for his opportunities to strike. And so, yeah, I'm expecting a few good rallies in this match. And it's just going to be interesting to see how Djokovic responds. I mean, he might be able to try and put his foot down and not give Tien too much to be happy about. But like, Tien though is interesting because he has had some good wins. Like, cause I mean, he obviously against Medvedev, but he also beat Rublev recently. He has beaten some good players.
Medvedev in Acapulco,
Shapovalov, Shelton. So it's not like he. I think he enjoys these, you know, the big matches, and
he does, yeah.
So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I think the question marks maybe just with Djokovic not having played many matches coming into this.
That's another factor. And you're going to have to hit an extra ball against Lerner on every occasion. So I'm not here predicting a Tien win, but that's a really interesting point you make about him rising to the occasion. Matthew asking, will it be a night match on Ash? For me, given the paucity of options, because we've already been through both draws, and I've said, I don't see that many storylines, and I don't see that many round ones jumping out at me. And this is there's a reason why I want to preview this one, because on the men's side, this is the only one that really stood out for me as an Ash feel to it. You've got an American against the 24-time Grand Slam champ. You've got Novak, who hasn't played a match since that Wimbledon semi-final, which I'm guessing would be 6 weeks ago, something like that. So it's a long time to go without a match. And when you're doing that kind of gamble, and I totally understand it at Novak's age, both in terms of physical and mental preparation, I understand just coming into these slams without a warm-up event. You're just sort of gambling a little bit on the draw, in that you don't have to come up against a Lerner Tien in the first couple of rounds. And yet here we are. He's going to play Lerner Tien in round 1. And I can see this going 4 or 5. I still see Novak prevailing. But I do think Novak's draw is okay after this. I think Mickelson might be round 3, lying in wait, or just in the next round or 2. And he's also in Carlos's half of the draw. So big picture, not bad for Novak. But first round, I don't think Lerner would be anywhere near his first choice, that's for sure. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, when was the last time Djokovic actually lost a first round at a slam? It must have been like...
No idea, because even his
like a decade ago or more than that.
Stan Querrey would have been Wimbledon 2016. Wawrinka would have been US Open 2019. I think that might be a 4th round, so it's not exactly early, but it's early for him. You know, I don't know. Did you posit a possibility for him at round 1? I think he might have only lost one in his career, no?
It's going to be... I think I've got a feeling like the statistic is like something crazy. It's probably not been until like almost 20 years ago, right? I mean, something crazy.
I think it might be, yeah.
2006,
maybe. Djokovic fell to Paul Goldstein of the US in Australia. I think that might have been in 2006.
Yeah, Matthew's asking in the comments, is Lerner's weakness his serve? Yeah, it definitely is. But he's also pretty good on return himself, so that's sort of how he's able to make up for it. And, you know, he's just kind of he's a smart player as well. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I do think he can maybe get a set. A 4-set match, and if he's playing well, then yeah, maybe it goes 5, but could be an interesting one for sure.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready. Play.
All right, the final match I want to look forward to in round 1 is on the men's side, and it is Novak Djokovic against Lerner Tien. They have not played before. As I say, sometimes I bring up these head-to-heads expecting to see 0-0, and yet they sometimes have played at some point, as in Mukovac and Venus Williams. But Djokovic and Lerner Tien have yet to play each other. Tien currently ranked 48 and at 19. As I say, I was thinking before this North American swing, all right, Lerner, a bit like Alex Ayala in a way. This is your part of the season, I think. You know, you're from the US. Hard courts undoubtedly is your best surface. You've shown some good results this year. You beat Medvedev in Australia. You pushed João Fonseca super close in Miami. And I thought, all right, go and get yourself a quarterfinal or a semi-final at one of these 3 North American events, either in Washington, in Canada, or Cincinnati, and yet it didn't happen. So, yeah, what are you thinking about this match against Novak?
Well, I mean, it's interesting for sure. As I said, like, it's a young American coming up against...
Djokovic is going to be made to work. We know that. Djokovic can win in straight sets, but he's not going to do it by hitting bombs and winners all the time.
Yeah, you can see there he's exactly half his age.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Funny. But like, I mean, Tien, though, I mean, he's impressive in the sense that, you know, he's a smart player. I mean, in the way that he plays like Djokovic, I mean, he plays like a Medvedev. I mean, he beat Medvedev earlier, obviously, in Australia. In terms of, you know, he likes to work his way into the points and sort of wait for his opportunities to strike. And so, yeah, I'm expecting a few good rallies in this match. And it's just going to be interesting to see how Djokovic responds. I mean, he might be able to try and put his foot down and not give Tien too much to be happy about. But like Tien though is interesting because he has had some good wins. Like, cause I mean, he obviously against Medvedev, but he also beat Rublev recently. He has beaten some good players.
In Acapulco,
Shapovalov, Shelton. So it's not like he. I think he enjoys these, the big matches, and
he does, yeah.
So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I think the question marks maybe just with Djokovic not having played many matches coming into this.
That's another factor. And you're going to have to hit an extra ball against Lerner on every occasion. So I'm not here predicting a Lerner Tien win, but that's a really interesting point you make about him rising to the occasion. Matthew asking, will it be a night match on Ash? For me, given the paucity of options, because we've already been through both draws, and I've said, I don't see that many storylines, and I don't see that many round ones jumping out at me. And this is there's a reason why I want to preview this one, because on the men's side, this is the only one that really stood out for me as an Ash feel to it. You've got an American against the 24-time Grand Slam champ. You've got Novak, who hasn't played a match since that Wimbledon semi-final, which I'm guessing would be 6 weeks ago, something like that. So it's a long time to go without a match. And when you're doing that kind of gamble, and I totally understand it at Novak's age, both in terms of physical and mental preparation, I understand just coming into these slams without a warm-up event. You're just sort of gambling a little bit on the draw, in that you don't have to come up against a Lerner Tien in the first couple of rounds. And yet here we are. He's going to play Lerner Tien in round one. And I can see this going 4 or 5. I still see Novak prevailing. But I do think Novak's draw is okay after this. I think Mickelson might be in round 3, lying in wait, or just in the next round or two. And he's also in Carlos's half of the draw. So big picture, not bad for Novak. But first round, I don't think Lerner would be anywhere near his first choice, that's for sure. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, when was the last time Djokovic actually lost a first round at a slam? It must have been like...
No idea, because even his
like a decade ago or more than that.
Stan Querrey would have been Wimbledon 2016. Wawrinka would have been US Open 2019. I think that might be a 4th round, so it's not exactly early, but it's early for him. I don't know. Did you posit a possibility for him at round 1? I think he might have only lost one in his career, no?
It's going to be... I think I've got a feeling like the statistic is like something crazy. It's probably not been until like almost 20 years ago, right? I mean, something crazy.
I think it might be, yeah.
2006
maybe? Djokovic fell to Paul Goldstein of the US in Australia. I think that might have been in 2006.
Yeah, Matthew's asking in the comments, is Lerner's weakness his serve? Yeah, it definitely is. But he's also pretty good on return himself, so that's sort of how he's able to make up for it. And he's just kind of he's a smart player as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I do think he can maybe get a set, a 4-set match, and if he's playing well, then yeah, maybe it goes 5. But could be an interesting one for sure.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
All right, the final match I want to look forward to in round 1 is on the men's side, and it is Novak Djokovic against Lerner Tien. They have not played before. As I say, sometimes I bring up these head-to-heads expecting to see 0-0, and yet they sometimes have played at some point, as in Mukovac and Venus Williams. But Djokovic and Lerner Tien have yet to play each other. Tien currently ranked 48 and at 19. As I say, I was thinking before this North American swing, all right, Lerner, a bit like Alex Ayala in a way. This is your part of the season, I think. You're from the US. Hard courts undoubtedly is your best surface. You've shown some good results this year. You beat Medvedev in Australia. You pushed João Fonseca super close in Miami. And I thought, all right, go and get yourself a quarterfinal or a semifinal at one of these 3 North American events, either in Washington, in Canada, or Cincinnati. And yet it didn't happen. So yeah, what are you thinking about this match against Novak?
Well, I mean, it's interesting for sure. As I said, like, it's a young American coming up against.
Djokovic is going to be made to work. We know that. Djokovic can win in straight sets, but he's not going to do it by hitting bombs and winners all the time.
Yeah, you can see there he's exactly half his age.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, but like, I mean, Tien, though, I mean, he's impressive in the sense that, he's a smart player. I mean, in the way that he plays like Djokovic, I mean, he plays like a Medvedev. I mean, when he beat Medvedev earlier, obviously, in Australia, in terms of, he likes to work his way into the points and sort of wait for his opportunities to strike. And so, yeah, I'm expecting a few good rallies in this match. And it's just going to be interesting to see how Djokovic responds. I mean, he might be able to try and put his foot down and not give Tien too much to be happy about. But like, Tien, though, is interesting because he has had some good wins. Like, cause, I mean, he obviously against Medvedev, but he also beat Rublev recently. He has beaten some good players.
Medvedev in Acapulco,
Shapovalov, Shelton. So it's not like I think he enjoys these, the big matches. And
he does, yeah.
So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I think the question marks maybe just with Djokovic not having played many matches coming into this.
That's another factor. And you're going to have to hit an extra ball against Lerner on every occasion. So I'm not here predicting a Lerner Tien win, but that's a really interesting point you make about him rising to the occasion. Matthew asking, will it be a night match on Ash? For me, given the paucity of options, because we've already been through both draws, and I've said, I don't see that many storylines, and I don't see that many round ones jumping out at me. And this is there's a reason why I want to preview this one, because on the men's side, this is the only one that really stood out for me as an Ash feel to it. You've got an American against the 24-time Grand Slam champ. You've got Novak, who hasn't played a match since that Wimbledon semi-final, which I'm guessing would be 6 weeks ago, something like that. So it's a long time to go without a match. And when you're doing that kind of gamble, and I totally understand it at Novak's age, both in terms of physical and mental preparation, I understand just coming into these slams without a warm-up event. You're just sort of gambling a little bit on the draw, in that you don't have to come up against a Lerner Tien in the first couple of rounds. And yet here we are. He's going to play Lerner Tien in round 1. And I can see this going 4 or 5. I still see Novak prevailing. But I do think Novak's draw is okay after this. I think Mickelson might be in round 3, lying in wait, or just in the next round or 2. And he's also in Carlos's half of the draw. So big picture, not bad for Novak. But first round, I don't think Lerner would be anywhere near his first choice, that's for sure. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, when was the last time Djokovic actually lost a first round at a slam? It must have been like...
No idea, because even his
like a decade ago or more than that.
Sam Querrey would have been Wimbledon 2016. Wawrinka would have been US Open 2019. I think that might be a 4th round, so it's not exactly early, but it's early for him. I don't know. Did you posit a possibility for him at round 1? I think he might have only lost one in his career, no?
It's going to be... I think I've got a feeling like the statistic is like something crazy. It's probably not been until like almost 20 years ago, right? I mean, something crazy.
I think it might be, yeah.
2006,
maybe? Djokovic fell to Paul Goldstein of the US in Australia. I think that might have been in 2006.
Yeah, Matthew's asking in the comments, is Lerner's weakness his serve? Yeah, it definitely is. But he's also pretty good on return himself, so that's sort of how he's able to make up for it. And he's just kind of he's a smart player as well. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I do think he can maybe get a set, and yeah, a 4-set match, and if he's playing well, then yeah, maybe it goes 5. But could be an interesting one for sure.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
I feel this stream demands some Zach. How are you?
You know, John, I'm going to be honest with you. Just had one of the least fun things that can happen to a human being happen. I have cracked a molar. Not good. And there's one thing on this planet that can make me feel better, and that is broadcasting with you, watching the young upstart learner Tien take on the GOAT, Novak Djokovic. And lucky for me, here we are.
Novak sporting an all-black outfit. I do recall seeing that a couple of weeks ago, so I was aware that he was going to wear black this year. Let's hope it's not a black night for him and his fans, but maybe both players can lighten up this tournament and this evening. Of course, it's 7 p.m. local time, or just past 7 o'clock local time, and so there is still some sunshine for this first night session match of the US Open, and the first one ever, of course, on a Sunday. I'm going to ask you some questions, Zach, and then I'm going to reflect. Before we get into this match, we're going to have a look at some results from today, and I want you to give me a score of 1 to 10, 10 being the biggest shock of all time. So I'm going to tell you a result. So let's just say Novak Djokovic, if this had happened, well, it did happen in the past. Novak Djokovic losing in, the second or third round in Australia, that would be sort of close to 10, I would suggest. Maybe Nadal when he lost in the French Open in 2009, that would sort of be a 10. 1 is like the most predictable result ever. So I'm going to start with Emma Raducanu winning in straight sets over Shikhaburi, I think her name is. I'm probably butchering her name, but she won her match in straight sets earlier on today.
Last year, it would have been a 7. This year, it's a 3.5.
I think 3.5 is still pretty generous. I'm going to go for a 2.
Oh,
because
okay.
I just thought that she was winning in straights, and probably if I had to go for straights, I would have gone like 2-1, or I just felt very confident in Emma this year. She's displayed a lot of good performances throughout the North American hard court swing. She's beating players that she should be. This has not always been the case, as you've suggested in the past. But yeah, let's go with Leylah Fernandez 2-1 against Marino.
1. That's 1.5. 1.5.
Really? Okay, because I'll go 3 on that one, just because Leylah can get herself into a pickle. I mean, I'm still thinking Leylah wins it, and I did pick her in my bracket, but that serve can be vulnerable, and when you've got a vulnerable serve, you can find yourself in
Tell me about her opponent real quick.
Marino.
Yeah.
Not much. Probably peaked about 2 years ago at the Billie Jean King Cup. Yeah, not a lot. Not too many big weapons that can hurt players.
I think
in the
that's
top
why.
20.
That's why
Yeah.
for me, Fernandez, it's so unsurprising. It's less an endorsement of Fernandez and more just a reality that, hey, probably a pretty good round one draw as a 31 seed.
What about Sabalenka 7-5, 6-1 against Masarova?
Yeah, like a 2.5. Surprised that it was that close. Sabalenka, especially in these early round matches, just rolls people.
She does. Yeah.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, probably go a bit more, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
In terms of shock, Ayala winning in 3 sets over Towson.
I was gonna say a 1 just to be annoying, but I don't know. That's got to be like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah,
She's got some game, but I mean, watching her serve, it's like how can she pull this off against a top 15 seed with that serve? And the answer is, hey, she's a heck of a talent. But yeah, 7 or 8 for me. What you got?
Yep, 7.5. So we're pretty much in agreement there.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the men's draw. We've got Mensik winning in straight sets over Nicholas Jarry. That was one of the first results on the men's side today.
I mean, Mensik is the second most talented teenager on tour behind Lerner Tien. So I think for me, I'm going to put that at about a 3 or 4 because Jarry is a hell of a player, a heck of a player. Very, very talented. And so actually, as I was doing my draw, I hesitated on that match because I think Mensik is very, very good, very talented, future top 5 guy. But I also think that Jarry's got a great game. And so it's a very, very solid round 1 win. It's a confidence builder, in my opinion. What you got, John?
I tipped Mensik to win this match, so obviously him winning it is not so much of a surprise. But straight sets, pretty comfortable. Had a few wobbles when he was trying to serve it out. I think he went love 40 down on his serve, but eventually got over the line. I'll go 4 just because of how close it was, and how relatively comfortable it was for Jakob. So good win for him, I would suggest. Right, let's switch our attention to Lerner Tien and Novak Djokovic.
So, John,
go.
I want you to tell me when I've said something untrue.
Mm-hmm.
Lerner Tien has never lost to Novak Djokovic at the U.S. Open. Fact. Lerner Tien is 4-1 against top 10 players. Fact.
Ooh, I mean, I'm guessing because you're saying it with that level of excitement.
If you believe Wikipedia, you can believe that because that's where I pulled it from about 7 minutes before this broadcast.
4-1 against top 10 players.
He's a big game player.
I know he's beaten Medvedev earlier on this year, and of course, Medi would have been in the top 10 at that point, I think, in Australia, and Zverev in Acapulco as well, who's obviously easily inside the top 10 in the top 5. Okay, all right, interesting.
Fact: Novak Djokovic's greatest rival, lefty. The player who
his greatest rival, of course, was a lefty. Yes.
The player who gave him the most trouble in his career was a lefty. Fact?
Yeah. Over the career, yes.
Novak Djokovic has not had a particularly good season. Fact? Especially by his standards.
I guess, yeah. That's subjective, but yeah.
And that's why we're going to see Lerner Tien win in 5. And I have to say this, and I feel this very much in my bones. What I'm about to say. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com remove the space at 1UXFFUIW. Thank you, useful lookout TU1. Oh, here we go. So Djokovic does not want a battle with Tien. I actually think this is a classic example, in all seriousness, of a time where he probably does lose a set. I think that he's not going to lose any sleep over losing a set. He wants to get his legs. He wants to get some reps in. Tien is a crafty player, but he's not going to hit Djokovic off the court. The match is on Djokovic's racket. So I think this thing, if we're being completely serious and completely honest, Djokovic is going to win in 4. I'm probably going to go into character like a WWE wrestler and just be a Tien homer this whole match. And so forgive me in the chat. If you like it, tell me. If you don't like it, make fun of me. And, John, forgive me in advance.
I will get excited if Tien makes this close and exciting as well. And I think, listen, maybe this opponent for Novak, even as little as 2 years ago, certainly 3 years ago, I don't think would be a concern. But now that Novak is I don't want big headlines from this comment, but he is slightly on the wane, I think. And I've said it many, many times that I think the concern for Novak and his fans will be when he's not beating players such as Lerner Tien at slams, especially. So, oh, by the way, is it Tien or Tien?
You know, I kind of just go back and forth and hope that other people are hearing the right one. Lerner Tien is what I started saying, but I've heard Lerner Tien more, and he is a teen, and so I don't know. Now, John, we're about to get underway, and before
you're going to be way ahead of me, I'm sure, because my stream is, I'm about the same as Brenner was today.
You just let me know when to pause it. We'll get in sync. Across the pond. Djokovic starting off strong. I'll just say that.
Right. Well, I'll tell you when Novak's about to serve, and I'm guessing it's either an ace or an unreturned serve, but I will call it out to you. He's just bouncing the ball now for his first serve. And where's he going? Is he going to go wide or down the tee? He's gone down the tee, and it is an ace. So there you go. I'm probably about 20 to 30 seconds behind you.
I have it paused on his toss for point number 2. So you just
keep... Right. So he's bouncing the ball right now, and he tosses now. So he's gone into the net on his first serve. Just regarding, so Djokovic, when he starts to get swallowed up by the field, when I say swallowed up, I just mean starts losing from time to time to Andre Rublev, to Casper Ruud, to Taylor Fritz, basically players that he was beating in his sleep for the last decade or so, or players of that type as well. When he starts losing those matches, like I say, even if it's, just a couple of times a year, even that's still twice more than he used to. So that's when it'll become a concern. And I do think that Tien is capable of taking a set. I think Djokovic, to be honest with you, even if he comes through in 5, will just be happy to be through. I think that he can, of course, if he has 3-5 setters in a row, that will catch up with him. But I think tonight, just got to get through, because he is a little vulnerable, Djokovic, for some of the reasons I highlighted, but also because, of course, he hasn't played since Wimbledon. He, as I said in the preview, he's gambling a little bit on getting the reps in this first week, so he's ready for the second week, if you like.
Speaking of gambling, as Djokovic gets an easy hold, Matthew D'Souza points out that bookmakers have Tien at only 4-1 to win. I mean, 2 years ago, against a 19-year-old ranked in the 40s, Djokovic would have been, it would have been 75-1. It would have been outrageous what the odds are. And so I think, that's a reflection that Djokovic is looking more mortal than he has at any point since he was probably about Lerner Tien's age.
And there's Michael Chang, as I can see in the audience, as Matthew pointed out. Yeah, I heard that he was joining him. I'm not sure if it's just for this tournament or beyond, but I had heard that Michael was joining the team. Before we go on, I want to just give a mention to some things that are not sponsors of the show, but more than welcome to join. I had a can of Vimto earlier, and it's become a recent addiction of mine.
What is Vimto, John?
Pardon?
What is Vimto, John?
I was about to say Vimto with an M. I was wondering if it was available in the US, and it's been enjoyed since 1908. It's a sparkling, fruity, fizzy drink. What fruity, fizzy drinks do you have in the US? Maybe Dr. Pepper, a little bit like that, maybe.
There's Poppy. Poppy is a new one.
Yeah, very fizzy.
Fresca,
very poppy,
if you're a Fresca guy.
Yeah, fresh, nice, lovely. And so, I can't give it much more description than that, but it's super tasty. And I remember seeing it a lot in the UK when I was very young, and I hadn't seen it for about 20 years. And then I saw it in a shop last week, and I've been drinking a few cans over the last, is
there booze in there?
No.
It's just good. It's just there's nothing to hook you other than the taste. Lerner Tien with a filthy inside out forehand there to win his first point of the match. Absolutely lovely shot by the youngster. John, you said several things to plug. That's one.
Right.
Vimto with an M. And by the way, I haven't had it, but just want to say that if they were to sponsor Talking Tennis, I'd certainly be willing to receive and try it. Just
right. And that's absolutely, you're right. I would suggest that if we got that.
I have the courage to say that. I would drink that beverage.
I would suggest some crates should be sent over the pond for sure. A much more well-known product. So I've got myself stocked for the next 5
Lerner Tien with another winner, baby. Sorry to interrupt.
I saw, nice passing shot. And much needed at 15:30.
Yes.
A much more well-known product. I've got a Twix I've got a cup of tea in a Manchester United mug. We drew 1-1 today, so pretty disappointing. And a glass of water, basically. So all of that combined with yourself and an epic tennis match in front of me, I should be set fair.
So, not gonna lie, John, I was really looking forward to pouring myself a nice glass of wine. It is an evening match after all, and it's even later where you are. But
I was at a wine
tooth
festival
situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's inadvisable with the cracked tooth to drink wine, but also to smoke cigarettes or other things that you can smoke. And so kind of a quiet night for me as a result.
Great point, Novak Djokovic, by the way. And Tien has gone incredibly long with that left hand forehand, really. And that was a real giveaway there from Lerner. And Novak gets the early break. So all my optimism over a tight affair. Novak has already drawn first blood, a little bit like you did with your tooth earlier, potentially. Although if it was just a cracked tooth, I don't know if blood comes out. I don't know if you want to share these details. I don't know if I guess a tooth.
See it.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm just thinking if it doesn't affect the gum, then there shouldn't be any blood. But anyway, Djokovic has got the early break. But I would normally partake in that. But I was at a wine festival myself yesterday.
Oh.
And very nice. But of course, 2 days in a row is always a tricky thing. And I did enjoy myself yesterday, to put it that way.
I'd also like to say for the record, John, that if Talking Tennis were to do a special Talking Wine episode, assuming I get this tooth situation figured out, would be happy to join. And I think that perhaps some of the audience would too, if given some advanced notice of what the sampling would be. Kit Dr. Zach has a few thoughts that I just have to get off my chest before it gets away from me. The jacket that Djokovic wore onto the court, it felt very Oasis inspired, did it not?
Okay.
It felt very much.
Didn't think of Oasis, but certainly sort of rock and roll, that's for sure.
If Liam walked out in that jacket, would it surprise you? Not one bit for me.
Liam could wear pretty much any jacket. It wouldn't surprise me. Funny enough, I was watching a video just yesterday of Liam at a concert from 10 years ago wearing a wild, lengthy orange jacket. So, and funny enough, me and the other guy I was with, it was just before we went to the wine festival yesterday. And we both made a comment on it. But yeah, Liam could basically wear any jacket, and it probably wouldn't surprise me. So, Tien, is he gonna get himself on the board here and get the break back? Let's see, 15 all. And Novak is going to go wide, but miss his first serve. Second serve here for Lerner to look at. That's my washing machine as well, whirring in the background. Just need it. I just needed it. I know it's late at night and all this. A double fault there from Novak.
Bit sloppy from the GOAT. I'll tell you what's not sloppy. The rest of his kit, the all black ensemble, looks awesome. In fact, I just picked up a pair of those Fast Focus ASIC shoes that he's wearing because they are simply too clean not to give a go.
Regarding, we call it ASICs, but you can call it ASICs and it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, regarding ASICs as a brand, interesting that those that don't have shoe sponsors often plug for ASICs. So that's an interesting thing I've noticed. Like you'll see somebody with, Hugo Boss, for example, sponsored and therefore doesn't have a shoe product. Some of them, of course, will have a separate arrangement. Like Novak himself, for example, he has Lacoste, but he has a separate deal with ASICs, and that's why he wears that combo. Medvedev, for example, wears Lacoste, but doesn't have a shoe deal. So he also wears Lacoste shoes and so on and so forth. But there are others on the tour. They're either ranked 200 or 300 in the world and have no clothing deal, or they have a clothing deal that doesn't include shoes, and a lot of them choose ASICs, I find. So that's quite interesting.
It's one of the preferred shoes of the club level player as well. Tien showing why he's such a talent. I mean, he kind of pushing around Djokovic in that point. Had him way behind the baseline, moving him around the court very nicely. I think realistically, I think he's getting at least a set. I like in my heart of hearts, I expect Tien to walk away with the set. And I can't tell you what that'll do for his confidence and his long-term development. That's a big, big deal to win a set against Novak at a major.
Yeah.
And also, as a player's only 19 years old, let's imagine he has a 13 to 15 year career. When he's 30 and they show, once won a set against Novak Djokovic, just give like, oh, wow. In the same way, Darwin Blanche has played Rafael Nadal.
And won a game, I think.
Darwin Blanche, saw him in Winston.
Oh,
That's a big serve on that young man. That is a big serve for a 17-year-old.
He might have evolved that serve since I saw him, because I saw him up very close at a challenger in Portugal, just after that Nadal match, actually, maybe a week or two later. But yeah, he might well have evolved that. I mean, obviously that was 16 when he played Rafa, and this is a year and a half later. Just showing some other scores on the screen. Nakashima's up a break already. Djokovic here serving at deuce. Navoni lost the first set, 6-love, to Marcus Giron. Giron or Giron, one of the two.
Did they just play in Winston as well? I feel like they may have. I know that they both were there. My king, my North Star of tennis, Corentin Moutet, is battling to try and take this thing 5 with Jack Thompson and Lovell in the 4th. I was watching that match actually before this. I can't get enough of Corentin Moutet. I like him. Yeah. He's so fun to watch. He is so French. He is the Frenchest French of ever Frenching French. And like you can tell he just wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's a bit of a brat, but eminently lovable and stylish and fun. Quiet chat today. Oh, bad miss from Tien. A couple sloppy, uncharacteristic misses. I don't think of him as missing shots that he is not supposed to miss very often, right? And there was that break where he sailed the ball by 12 feet maybe, and then that return attempt. So some big points where he is not delivered. I think this is probably the single best love 3 I've ever seen out of a player.
Well, Novak is not happy with something. I don't know what.
Is it the crowd, I wonder? Because I have to imagine the crowd is pretty darn excited for the young American. I mean, look, when's the last time American fans had a teenage lefty to get this excited about? I mean, it was because Donald Young was lefty, I believe. Okay. But didn't really reach the heights that Tien has already. And then other than that, I think to go back to John McEnroe.
Okay. I'm just trying to listen and work out what it is, but I think it is someone in the crowd, but he's not getting whatever he wants. He's not getting it from John Blom, the umpire.
This is interesting.
So I don't know what it is specifically. It's funny because he's obviously up 3-love, but yeah.
Okay, so Matthew D'Souza points out that Novak was speaking to the umpire about the stop clock warning that he got. Famously, he likes to bounce the ball quite a bit. Perhaps he believes that some special treatment should be extended to him as the greatest player of all time. And I'm going to be honest, kind of agree. I don't think the same rule should apply to Novak Djokovic as applies to Lerner Tien. At a certain point, he's earned it. You talk about the Jordan rules.
He's got it though. He's got it so early in the match.
Yeah. He's working. Anyway. He's literally working the refs. That's all he's doing.
Yep.
Or maybe the umps are working him.
But whatever the debate was, well, now I know. But before knowing what it was about, I knew it didn't look like he was getting like what he wanted from the umpire. So now I know it's about the stop clock. That makes even more sense. Normally, when it's a member of the crowd, the umpires are like, oh, okay, no, okay, Novak, okay, Rafa, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, it was about the stop clock. Interesting. He's got that so early, and he seems to be so agitated, despite the fact he's 3-love up. Tien here trying to get on the board has at least had number turn serve for 15-love.
So the shot clock warning seemingly is the real point of frustration. It is a humid day in North Carolina. It sounds like it is in New York as well. Always tough on the players, particularly those that don't train in those warm weather climates. I think it's safe to say that Jack Draper should be on alert. Do you agree? Do you concur, Dr. Silk?
Do you concur? That reminds me of a comedy, but I don't know which one. A comedy movie.
Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, is it? Yeah, okay. Catch Me If You Can. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's got his finger here. He's got his pen in his mouth. You concur, that's right. Yeah, because he's got no clue.
Yeah, because it's a broken leg and they're trying to figure out what to do. And he's like, that's a great movie. Turns out the guy that it was based on, completely full of it, made it all up. And that, ironically, was his greatest con, not the cons depicted in the film Catch Me If You Can, which is delightful. Leo and Tom Hanks at their finest. Unfortunately, so far tonight, Lerner Tien has not been at his finest, but the night is young in New York City. Let's see if he can get back on track with his first game here. Second serve at 30-15 for Lerner Tien.
So just regarding Draper, I know what you mean in terms of his durability, but the other thing with Draper is his draw is quite nice.
Yeah.
I I think his first 2 matches are pretty comfortable. And the kind of matches you want and the kind of matches I suggested that Novak would like to ease yourself into the tournament, having not played since Wimbledon. And that's the same for Jack. He hasn't played since Wimbledon because of an arm injury. So, yeah, but for Jack, that's good. Although I do have him. Oh, that's a lovely backhand winner down the line there. Yeah. How's your backhand?
Not as good as that. Not in the best day of my life. My backhand is a work in progress, like everybody. I'm trying to have a bit more fluid of emotion. I think sometimes I have a bit of a herky jerky wrist drop on my backhand, and so I'm just trying to, this is bad because it's not exactly a stellar backhand. I'm trying to hit a little bit more like Cam Norrie. I think a thing that rec players can do, the pros, whatever their worst shot is, you should be trying to hit like that, not whatever a top high level pro's best shot is, because they're not like us. We're not like them. We simply are not capable of doing that. The worst shot, maybe we can give it a go. I also think, woo!
Ooh, I thought that was going to. It doesn't matter. Won the point anyway, 15-all. But I thought it was going to be an outright winner for a second, but still, whatever.
He's looking like he can compete and be. He does. I mean, look, Tien's not looking like he can win this thing right now, but he's looking like he can be competitive and give us a nice little match to enjoy some Twix and Vimto, and room temperature water, which is what I'm enjoying at the moment. I might get cheeky and get the wine out. I don't know. I'm using that word right.
Yeah.
Ooh, sports and politics has entered the chat.
Sports politics just appears when you least expect it.
Sports or politics or both.
Right, yeah. And doesn't sport and politics doesn't really offer anything like amazing, and yet, interesting. As in, like, I think Djokovic's going to win this in 4, and then sport and politics just goes again, and you don't hear from him again or her for about another 2 months. That sort of thing,
Or them.
Or them, indeed.
Sports and politics, welcome to the chat. Weigh in. What do you think's going to happen and why? Give us some analysis. And while we're at it, I don't know. Why don't you give a grade to, I don't know, some political administration? Pick an admin, give them a grade.
Anyway, Djokovic in 4. There you go.
Yeah.
you might get the grade.
I wonder who they'll pick.
If they pick anyone at all.
What
they might
sports and politics. What do you think of Keir Starmer, and who do you think Keir Starmer would pick in this match? Guarantee Starmer's picking Tien right now because of Donnie T's being weird.
40,
Sorry,
40,
I'll leave the politics out of this. At least Tien's making Djokovic work for this. I will say his movement is not looking as it's not looking like there's anything wrong with him, but that last ball, it was not unreachable, but he didn't read it particularly well there, and he didn't make a quick transition. So that's an area that I think the team does have room for improvement. The thing that I don't know that he can get any better with is his mind. He is one of the best young tennis thinkers that we've seen in a long time. Incredibly mentally tough. However, his athleticism, his fitness, his strength, I don't think is top 100 caliber, right? He is able to succeed in spite of his physical limitations. If he can add a little bit of power or a little bit extra mobility, that's how he goes from a top 50 guy to a top 15 guy.
Yeah, I have been a little disappointed at this stretch of the season as well. In the preview, I highlighted that I thought that there'd be a quarterfinal or a semi-final for him somewhere across this North American swing. To just show that this is his favorite part of the year, and it should be, home turf. This is the surface that we know he can excel on. And yet he didn't quite deliver in these tournaments in the build-up to the US Open. And maybe he's just lacking a bit of confidence and belief right now in terms of what he could do to Novak. As Novak leads 4-1. Nakashima up 4-2 on De Jong. And we've got Thompson and Mute. You can see there. And Nakashima's got a couple of big points for 5-2. Yeah, Thompson. By the way, my picks here are not looking amazing. As in, I did go for Nakashima and Djokovic, but I also went for Navoni and Mute, just because Thompson, I think, is not in great form, really. And Mute picks up wins normally. He's sort of second, third rounder sort of guy.
You just never know with Mute what he might bring.
Yeah.
I mean, he can beat anybody outside the top 5 just on a random day if he's feeling it, if the lightning strikes.
Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, that's that. Let's have a quick look at some of the women's matches. By the way, Draper plays Gomez tomorrow, and I think he should win that, but we'll see.
Speaking of easy draw, yeah, not exactly not the toughest round 1 matchup. He's not playing any Lerner Tien, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, and Azarenka is up a break as well. Jake is a big Azarenka fan, and he'll be pleased about that. She's really had a very underwhelming season by her high standards. Bencic won the first set over Zhang. Paolini and Aviava on serve. Potapova and Zhu are into a third set.
John, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's another bad miss by Lerner Tien. It's a backhand. He was under duress at various points in that exchange. He just wasn't there, and he simply is not going to be able to be even remotely competitive if he continues missing shots like that in this match. It is uncharacteristic for the young American. Maybe the moment's getting to him. Maybe just the pressure of playing Novak Djokovic. Any number of things could be the why, but it's just not good enough. And now he's got 3 break points pulled off.
Yeah. He just didn't believe when he sort of hesitated as well. Because he he can get past here, no problem. But if you look at where this ball lands, where the trajectory it goes across the net, he could be at the net there and getting his racket on it at the very least. It's a good pass, but it's not impossible.
I mean, he had good depth on it, but he needed to take Djokovic a little bit wider because he had time to set up, and he's on automatic at that point, right?
Yeah,
we've seen him do some version of that for 20 years now. By the way, in the preview, I believe you showed the last time that Novak Djokovic lost a round 1 Grand Slam match was 2006. Is that correct? Lerner Tien had not yet turned 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Lerner Tien has no memory of Novak Djokovic losing a round 1 Grand Slam match.
Maybe even Novak doesn't anymore.
I mean, I barely do, man. It's been a minute. Let's see if Djokovic.
It's the only time he's lost in round 1. I mean, he's never lost in the first round in New York when he was coming on court and he did his pre-match interview. I think it was the caption below was like he's 18-0 in round 1s in New York, and he's backing that up so far.
Look at Andre Agassi. Andre Agassi, by the way, is an all-time commentator. He is so much better than the folks that are not on Talking Tennis that they're churning out on the mainstream media outlets, the legacy media outlets. And I'd love to hear a little bit more of Andre Agassi in the booth. But if they're not going to take advantage of him, hey, maybe he'll join Talking Tennis and we can get him on a show.
Sure. By the way, just one regarding Andre as well. I don't recall seeing him around tennis much until this year. I mean, 10 years ago, I think he did a few bits and pieces, disappeared for a few years, but he seems to be back. I think during the French Open, I saw him on some US TV and stuff, and some captions emerging from him. And he's there front and center in the crowd there in New York.
He does amazing work. Yeah, Agassi does amazing work with his school, and it seems like he really focused on helping his community in the greater Nevada area and being a dad. And I think that's incredibly admirable. His kids appear to be doing pretty well and in college or out of school, and now he's back to talking tennis. To my knowledge, he's never once said he would not come on. Just want to
definitely not. He's definitely not said it. No. 7 points in a row for Novak has just been broken as he puts a backhand into the net, so it's 30-15. Gidon is now 2 sets to love up on Navoni. So I like Gidon. I think it's an amazing mover. I like him on a hard court. I like him on grass. He's just not been winning much recently, so that's why I thought he might go out to Navoni.
Tough stretch for him. Speaking of being a good mover on clay, the natural surfaces, go with me on this. I actually think that Lerner Tien's best surface might ultimately become clay, because his biggest weakness, his serve, he's much better able to adjust to on clay. I think that his mind, his craft, his willingness to hang in there in long exchanges. I think that all should be complemented by Clay. The variety he throws. I think he's a natural surface player. I think he's just not used to it because he came up in the States where it's such a hardcore culture. As Djokovic is about to close out set 1 in under 25 minutes.
Block return there. I think it's not the worst idea in the world. He's into the rally here, is Lerner, but he's on the back foot and he's gone long there with a forehand.
There it is.
Djokovic has indeed done it in 24 minutes. That was much swifter and much easier than I thought. He did threaten the Novak serve. I think he had a break point, and there was other moments where I thought, okay, here we go. But ultimately, of course, his serve is super vulnerable. I see what you mean, but it might take him too long on the clay. You know, it might. It's not. You know, and I know these are elite, you know, all-time greats, really, in terms of, you know, the players I'm about to mention. But sometimes you see it with other players. Like, you know, Iga was just too good a player and too good a mover and too good a tennis player and all the rest of it, and had too many weapons not to eventually become a threat at Wimbledon. I didn't predict her to win this year. But 2 years ago, I was like, listen, I know her best surface is play, blah, 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 blah. But she's just too good not to get a Wimbledon one day. Rafa was a very similar situation. Alcaraz was very similar as well. The only thing I would say with Alcaraz in particular was that he did it sooner than I thought. You know, I thought that, he's going to get grass one day. He's getting better and better, and he's a really good mover, and he's a very aggressive player. But, he just got there probably a year or two before I thought he would. With Lerner Tien, and you're talking about the clay there, it just might be too many years that roll by before he eventually... It's the movement on clay that's just not natural for him. And he gets really good results on a hard court.
You know, I think about a guy, though, who, you know, when he first found his way to a surface, wasn't particularly good. Ben Shelton on grass didn't and hasn't set the world on fire yet, but I very much believe that he's going to be, you know, a top 3 player on grass in the coming years.
He's got a Wimbledon final in him somewhere. He's got a Wimbledon final. Yeah, for sure.
If Mark Philippoussis could do it, Ben Shelton could do it. And if Ben Shelton can do it, just maybe Lerner Tien can on clay.
Listen, if he doesn't play Yannick Sinner, you know, he could be winning Wimbledon and certainly in a final.
Isn't that the story of men's tennis right now? Listen, if I don't get Yannick Sinner, anything could happen.
That's more the case than if I don't get, because I think this, you know, for example, Shelton's due to meet Alcaraz here in the quarters, and he can win that match. I would say right now it's a 70-30. But it doesn't feel that close against Yannick. So that's how it is. I mean, listen, I think he took 1 set off Carlos in the French Open, and Ben's weakest surface is clay, although I think he can get good results and he can win titles on that surface someday. Not necessarily the French Open, but some of those other titles in the build-up. I think he was in a final in Germany this year, wasn't he? For example. So but it's just different against Sinner. Sinner doesn't give you the chances because Sinner doesn't wander. His mind doesn't wander for a set and a half like Carlos can, or his forehand doesn't just spray for 15 minutes like Carlos can, or the drop shots just don't work out in certain moments like they can for Carlos. So, he just Carlos gives you a chance, and therefore someone like Ben, I think, is a real threat. And it'd be interesting. I think if Ben got to the final, for example, and played Yannick, because I think they are on opposite sides of the draw. Maybe that could be interesting with the New York crowd and everything else. But I
think it's been a long time since we've seen a New York crowd as rowdy as they're about to be for Ben Shelton if he can make a run here. I mean, Tiafoe, when he made the semis a few years back, that was a raucous, fun, great tennis environment that I think is good for the sport. I'd like to see more of. I think that it would be even louder than that because Shelton, you know, I don't know what it is about the guy, but he just feels like a winner. And I think it's because you can tell that he doesn't just believe that he can win. He expects that he is going to win. And, you know, we can be a major winner without being a superstar. Yvonne Lendl, great example of that. Ben Shelton is a superstar.
And I expect him to be in that quarterfinal against Carlos. And I tell you what, that'll be maybe the most eagerly anticipated match of the whole tournament. We'll see. Tien here, 30 love up. Djokovic had what seemed like a really good backhand return, as only he can, but it just missed. And Novak was disappointed. I think Novak wants to get this done, basically. He's dialed in for sure, although he's on the back foot here. But that's landed in. So we're still into the rally here. And we're back at neutral, actually.
Wow, what an exchange! What an exchange, and what a close!
Tien is trying to play a bit more aggressively, and that's possibly why we're seeing 1 or 2 more errors from him. And And that last rally just couldn't put Novak away. And eventually Novak gets back to neutral, and then Novak does what Novak does with that backhand winner down the line. Oh, sorry, forehand winner down the line.
Let's talk tactics for a minute, John. If you're in Lerner Tien's box and you're saying, hey, look, I recognize you're playing the GOAT, but this is what you need to do to give yourself the best chance to win. What are you telling him? What adjustments is he making here in set number 2?
Well, let's go back to pre-match. First of all, I actually would not normally say this to someone like Lerner Tien against Novak. Normally, I would say you're going to have to change something. But actually, I was quite optimistic that Lerner could bring his normal game and make it very, very difficult for Novak. The problem is that Novak has played much better, and Tien has. So I think Tien did change a bit in that first set. I think he is probably just 2 or 3 shots more aggressive than normal, as we see that forehand go long there, for example. I actually would not have suggested this to Tien. I would have said, look, bring your normal game and we'll see where it gets you. Now, you might say to me, John, thousands of players have done that to Novak down the years and they've been wiped off the court. I just felt that this was a bit different, because I said Novak's just a little bit worse than he was, say, a couple of years ago. I wouldn't have said that to Casper Ruud or Andrei Rublev in the last 2 years when they've been playing. I would be saying, up it, up it, up it. You've got to do something. Get out of these backhand exchanges. Like, I remember seeing Casper Ruud so many times getting these rallies in 2023, and I was just thinking, Casper, you're not going to win this match by playing this way. Tommy Paul, very similar in Australia in 2023. Tommy Paul made a decent comment, though, in press when he's like, look, because I think it might have been Craig O'Shaughnessy was like, Tommy, you should have tried some more serve and volley today, for example. And it's not that easy, or come to the net more often. But you've got to you can't just come to the net. You need a ball with which to come to the net from. So I would have just said, bring your normal. The problem is now he's a set down. He doesn't have a serve volley. He doesn't have an approach to the net, Lerner. So I would just be reminding him of the tennis that beat Zverev and Medvedev to some extent as well, because those two guys, okay, maybe Zverev serves a bit bigger and Medvedev's form is not quite what it was, but they're not net rushers. They're baseline players. They're guys that will grind you down as well. And you've beaten them. So I would have just said, bring your normal game. And I don't think he has brought his normal game. So I'd be trying to instill belief in him rather than telling him to change something tactically.
I think I would draw from professional cycling for the advice I would give Lerner Tien here, which is be prepared to suffer. If you are willing to outsuffer your opponent, who's 38 years old as a 19-year-old. He's just
done it in that game. He's just done that in that game.
That was a grind. That game was an absolute slog. Every single point, extended rallies, Lerner Tien working the court, going after every single ball. Look, because the first set was so fast, I question whether he will be able to grind Djokovic down at this point. However, I believe that's his best shot. He's not going to hit him off the court. He's not going to hit, home run swing winners left and right. He's got to grind him down. And maybe that means being a little bit more aggressive and controlling the point. Maybe that means playing hyper defensive. I think that you are correct that it is in all likelihood does not mean serving and volleying. He's not a particularly tall guy. He doesn't move particularly well north-south. And so he's just got to work him.
Yeah.
I think that can be a way. I mean, that's sort of what he did to Medvedev to some extent. Yes.
Right. And if he makes this physical, then it could get interesting for 2 reasons. One, Novak is 38, is he? I think 38.
Yes.
And he's actually, I think, double Tien's age. He's 19, isn't he? Yeah. So first of all, you make it physical. And secondly, just, Novak is a bit out of rhythm. So that physicality when sometimes you think of a sports person, you would love a 2-month break and you'd be fresh. But there is also...
Is that Gayle King holding up the tournament right now?
Who is that, by the way?
That is an American television show host that was absolutely just holding up the greatest tennis player of all time from serving. Gayle King, I believe. Fantastic. Only at the U.S. Open, John.
Yeah. Now, this has been excellent defense from Lerner in this rally so far. He was on the back foot big style.
Look at this. Look at this exchange.
Now, Novak's going to come into the net and he'll probably win the point, although...
Ooh, that's how he wins, though.
Tien will lose a lot of those points, but he mustn't be deterred by it. He's also going to win some of those as well.
Yes, yes.
He's going to be down in the rally a lot of the time. He's going to have to defend for his life. And see where, listen, that you could say to me, John, that's exactly what he did for, the next 2 sets, and he lost 1, 2, and 3, for example. And that may well happen. But there's nothing. What else is Tien going to bring to this table right now at this stage in his career? He might develop certain other things in his career, but at the moment, he's not going to get, an Andy Roddick serve and a Rafa touch at the net and a drop shot from Carlos. He's not going to get those in the next 20 minutes. So
sometimes the other guy is just better at tennis than you. And sometimes just better on that day, and sometimes they're just better. I had a humbling moment myself the other day. I lost 0-0 to a player that I'd very much hoped to get a couple games against. He was a former top 200 junior. He played 4 years in college, and he's 24 years old, and I'm 33. And he just was a better tennis. I threw every single adjustment I could think of at him. Nothing worked. He just was better than me. And if you're Lerner Tien and you're playing the GOAT, and that happens, it's, I'm sure, frustrating. I'm sure he will have some things that he can learn from and improve upon. But sometimes it's just tennis. Sometimes the other guy's just better. Sometimes there's no adjustment to make. And while I hope this is not one of those moments, it very well could be for the young American.
And yet there was hope from my side in terms of making it competitive, just because Novak might be a bit rusty and he might, for example, drop a set partly as a result. And I just think Tien is just an ideal player to expose someone's rustiness.
Yes.
So yeah, but by the way, it still might. I mean, we're 1 set to love.
Yes.
Tien can get a break somewhere in this set and make it 1 set all. I think if it does go 2 sets to love, I think there could be a real draining the confidence from Lerner. But got to keep this tight. If he goes down a set and a break, then things change. But if we get to 2 all, 3 all, 4 all here, that's not the worst thing in the world for Tien.
So Djokovic is the number 7 seed. And at one point in time, I think you can make a pretty strong case that he was the most fit player on tour, or he was the most had the most stamina, most physically strong, whatever you want to say. He was in a league of his own in terms of fitness, right? Bad miss there. Do you think
he anticipated it, but he didn't quite pull it off? Yeah.
How many players in the top 100 today do you think trust themselves against Djokovic in terms of their stamina? Is he a top 7 guy?
Again, more than 2 years ago.
Yeah,
just a little bit more than 2 years ago. When did Novak last win a 5-setter? It could well have been quite recently, but I don't think he went to 5 sets at all in his Wimbledon run, and I don't think he did it in the French either. I know he did it at the French last year in 24. He won a 5-setter, I think, against France Cerundolo. But even in that match, I think he got injured and therefore couldn't play his quarterfinal. So yeah, I don't think he went 5 at all in Australia, and I don't think he went 5 at all at the French or Wimbledon this year. So it's a long time since he went 5 sets, and I don't think he went 5 at the US Open last year either. Don't forget he went out early then. Don't forget the US Open is, arguably his weakest slam. I know he's won more than he had in Paris, but he's also been in a lot of finals in Paris. But
the French Open thing's not his fault, right? It's a buzzsaw.
Coming back to your point, though, he's 38. And so 2 years ago, I would be like, no, don't make it physical against Novak. Do something else. Now, not played for sort of 6-7 weeks, whatever it is. And I think, make it physical and we'll see what Novak's got. And I think, I'm not saying that he's going to crumble in a 5th set. Right. I'd still back him in a 5-setter for various reasons, especially as this match, although it is becoming more physical. That first set was a pretty quick one. So, but I wouldn't mind it, whereas years ago, I'd be like, if you were 2 sets to love up and then it went back to 2 sets all, or you exchange sets and suddenly you're into a 5th, I'd back Novak pretty much against anyone else on the planet, with the exception of maybe Carlos Alcaraz, even more than Yannick, actually, funny enough, because Carlos in 5 sets is a monster. But now, it's another 2 years. There is going to be, whether it's this year or whether it's next year or whatever, I don't know. But there is going to be a physical decline with Novak at some point. Yeah, now, I don't know whether it's going to be now, next year, or even the year after, but it will happen at some point.
I think just a quick cross sports comparison, like LeBron James, I think that while Novak is still world class, he is no longer head and shoulders above his peers. And I think that's a reality that I'm not sure that he's fully adjusted to, and I'm not sure that he ever will adjust to that. Most of the greats do not, in fact.
Just going to get my washing.
Whilst John is checking on the wash, I just want to say to the chat, hey, hit us with some questions. Hit us with some ideas. Get engaged. We will have more fun if you're talking with us, and I'd like to think that you'll have more fun if we're talking with you. Nothing's off limits. We can't swear because of YouTube monetization weird rules, but other than that, you know, we can talk about whatever. We can talk about the match. We can talk about the rest of the tournament. We can talk about the economics of tennis, which I think anybody who's watched me on a stream has heard me mention once or twice before. We can talk about the celebrities in the crowd. I don't know who this person is. They keep showing them. There's a middle part person with bleached hair and weird sunglasses. They look cool. I assume they're famous. If you know in the chat, let me know. As Tien serves to go up 2-1 on serve in the second, and he double faults. One more point to close out this game. Let's see what he does. And whilst we're waiting, just want to mention the fact that I saw Stefanos Tsitsipas while I was in Winston for that tournament, and he looked terrible. Oof. I'm gonna be asking John a few questions about Tsitsipas when he returns from doing his wash, because I need a second opinion, because I almost couldn't believe my own eyes. He looks so bad. So bad. And Tien has done it. He is up 2-1. He has improved his result in set number 2. John, what's that?
I'm still here, by the way. So I can hear everything you say. So I'm here, but I'm just quite far from my mic. But I can still more or less talk. So that's a nice hold.
It's a very nice hold. Look, this is much more the caliber of match that I think that you and I were both expecting to see here. Let's see if it keeps going. I hope it does.
Yeah. What was going to say?
John, my tooth is killing me, by the way. Forgive me. I just got to get off my chest. Wow. Do not crack a tooth. This sucks. Terrible. 10 thumbs down.
If you need to have a break, just say.
I might in a moment, but I'll tell you what, as much as it is uncomfortable and unpleasant to have this tooth situation going on, I would rather do that, be dealing with that, than be Stefanos Tsitsipas' coach right now.
Is he losing?
I'm not. I don't know if he's playing right now. Watching him at Winston was incredible though, because I've seen, for the last 4 years I've gone and I've watched players practice. I've watched some of the matches, and Goran Ivanisevic, his former coach, said that he had never seen a player less prepared, and kind of took some heat for it for throwing a Tsitsipas under the bus. You know what? After watching that practice session, I think that he had to say it. I mean, watching his footwork or lack thereof, watching his complete, zero intensity session, it was shocking almost. Nick Kyrgios would have said, "Hey, come on, man, let's try a little bit." If he'd been watching that session, it was terrible. He looks really, really bad.
I think the comment from Goran was interesting. I saw Patrick Mouratoglou criticize him for it. Well, Patrick is just, first of all, you could have two very different styles of coaching and managing, if you like, and training. That's fine. That's neither is wrong or right necessarily. Some people use the stick, some people use the candy, or the arm around the shoulder. Yep. But the other thing as well is Patrick is probably also thinking about other things. He's not really concerned. He's just thinking of a potential coaching role in the future, or even just the fact that they have a close relationship. And so it's good for his academy to have a good relationship with professional players such as Stefanos. The other thing that I thought of is I think he tried everything else. He'd obviously tried the arm around the shoulder. He'd obviously been trying everything to coax him into being a better, practicer or trainer and a better player on the court and all this stuff. And it just wasn't working. So he thought, well, okay, if that's not going to work, I'm going to try the stick approach, and say, look, if you don't buck your ideas up, you're going to waste your career.
Yeah.
Now that didn't seem to work either, and he just wanted to go back to his dad. Fine, no problem. It's up to you.
I think I'll throw out there though. It's like, I don't even know that it was the stick. I think he was just being honest. Like I believe that was an accurate and correct assessment of the player and where he was. I don't think he was picking on him. I don't think he was being needlessly unkind. I think he was properly assessing the situation. And I think that the whole Tsitsipas family had a hard time with that. Now Jay said that they saw Steph play in Barcelona this spring, and his father was yelling at him the whole match.
Okay.
And it's interesting. Very, very different experience in Winston. He was just sitting there. His dad was silent. Was not particularly engaged. And so, I think not only is Goran trying different things, I'm sure his father has. Let's also acknowledge it is tough to go through a breakup. It's never fun. These athletes, they're human, right? And I have to imagine there are complicated feelings. There's also a possibility he's running around, trying to meet the new future Mrs. Tsitsipas, right? And so maybe he's distracted, maybe he's sad, maybe any number of things are happening. One thing that for sure is not happening, though, is he is not winning matches. I believe that he has not won back-to-back matches since Barcelona, by the way.
Okay, wow. Yeah. Well, I think the reason why we find it quite frustrating and quite disappointing is because, of course, the potential was there. With him and Zverev, as I see Djokovic holds here for 2-all, with him and Zverev and that generation in particular, it was like, well, how many Grand Slams are these guys winning? Stefanos wins that match against Federer in Australia in 2019, I think it was. And it's like, yeah, how many slams is this guy going to win? And he's so good on clay, and he's such a performer on a hard court. He's got the big serve. All he needs to do is somehow hide the backhand, which he could do on the clay a bit better than he could on the other surfaces. And yet here we are, and he's actually a worse player now than he probably was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. The thing I have to stress is his footwork in the practice sessions. I simply couldn't make sense of it. Okay. It was, look, maybe the attitude is, hey, he's there to get loose. He's there to just kind of get a sweat in. But I mean, the practice session I watched, it was club level bad habits, man. It was hard to watch. Like, truly, okay, recreational players would have their coach yelling at them if they moved the way that he did in practice when they were taking lessons. Now, one thing I'll observe in this set here is that Tien is absolutely battling for every hold, and Djokovic is more or less continuing to cruise on his serve. That doesn't bode super well for the young American, but I think that's just the reality of where they're both at. He's going to have to just grind on every service game and get lucky on one of Djokovic's, as Tien double faults there to go down 15-30. Not ideal. Not ideal at all.
In Australia this year, Tsitsipas lost first round, I think, to Mickelson. I'm pretty sure it was Mickelson. I'm going to say it was either 3 or 4 sets. And Australia is like his best slam, pretty much. He's been in a final there and a couple of semis. So, I've got along with the French, you could argue. But whatever, he's generally performed very well there and not really performed in New York.
So, John,
go on.
I have a question for you. So, we talk about both Zverev and Tsitsipas as underachievers relative to the expectations for them.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's quite fair to Zverev. And I'll tell you why. He was just waiting for the end of the Big Three era. And unfortunately, it happened to overlap with the beginning of the new Big Two. And when you look at his career, he has had an amazing career. He has not won the major, but he's won a gold medal. He's won a year-end tournament or two. He's won a few Masters. And while I don't think hardly anybody cares for him particularly, and I don't think we've ever seen a player that handsome who is less marketable than Zverev, he has had quite a good tennis career. He just hasn't won the big one. And yes, he is to some extent at fault for that. But at the same time, like, you look at who he's lost to, and they're all-time greats. And he is just merely a very good.
I know, but
he's a Wawrinka.
Yeah, but I think he does have the game a bit more. I mean, the thing is, some of those losses, like maybe to Alcaraz at the French Open in the final 2 years ago, 5-setter, and he does lose matches because he doesn't gamble enough in the biggest moments. And so there must be regrets. And I'm sure unlike some of these other players that we've mentioned, he's desperate to win that Grand Slam. Sometimes maybe too desperate in that he sort of he tenses up and all the rest of it. Other thing,
Jay points this out. Zverev is like 4th all time in all-time earnings. How crazy is that?
Yeah,
like for a guy who's never won a major. Sean Power also asks, are American media getting extra hype this year because guys like Fritz and Shelton might actually have a chance? What I would say, Sean, is the American media is beginning to get a little bit more excited about tennis because we do have some top players now. You don't really see a ton of excitement around Fritz. He's a hard guy to get excited about, right? I think there are far more people excited about his partner than him. And I think that's just the reality. Now, Shelton's got the Riz. Shelton's got people fired up. I think people continue to root for Tiafoe and have very positive feelings towards him. I think that there's some hope around Mickelson and a few of the other youngsters that are coming on tour. I think Tommy Paul, he has quite a vocal fan base. I think it tends to skew a little bit more women than men, but certainly he's a fun one to watch and a handsome fella as well. John, of the Americans, as we're at the U.S. Open, who do you personally get the most excited about?
Oh, that's one of the easiest questions I've ever been asked. Ben Shelton.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit why. Yeah.
I love Tiafoe, and if you ask me which American player would I most like to see win a slam, it would be
Djokovic just hit the deck.
He's all right.
Okay, he's fine. He's fine. All right.
By the way, one of the things in my washing machine was this little fella. And you know what they say? If the glove don't fit, you must quit. You know that expression?
I do. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Hey, all kinds of American cultural references happening this evening.
I know that. Cultural reference, yeah.
Were you John? Another John, by the way, Johnny Cochran.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was. Yeah. No, he was a showman.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
God,
he would have been an awesome sports agent. It's a shame that that's how he applied his talent. He would have been so fun. We don't really have a ton of tennis agents with pizzazz or panache.
Okay. Tien really, again, as you said, struggling to hold on to himself, but he's done it 3-2, and that's the most important thing. Like I said, just get to 3-all, get to 4-all, whatever. Just coming back to Stefanos, yeah. So first round against Mickelson in Australia, and there was some balls, some drop shots or whatever that he just wasn't chasing down. I actually thought he might even have been sick, and I almost expected to hear that in the press conference. Look at Novak there, looking a bit agitated. Look,
he doesn't want to be on this court for very long. He wants to be done in an hour and a half.
Right,
and I think he's starting to come to the realization,
might not be
might be here for 2.5, maybe 3.
That's what, by the way, and I'm going off at tangents here, but I will come back to Stefanos. Well, in fact, I'll just get my Stefanos bit out of the way first. Yeah, so he just wasn't running for balls. So I thought, maybe he's sick, or maybe he's just not bothered. And he did say in his press conference afterwards, he was really struggling for motivation. This is in January, so he's admitting it, which is half the battle, I guess.
Yeah.
He then goes away, changes his racket head a bit. There's the new Tsitsipas, if you like, in February in the Middle East when he picks up an ATP 500 title, first one in his career. And you're like, good for you, Stefanos. You've made an adjustment. You've recognized some issues. You're trying something different, which is to be applauded, even if it doesn't end up working out long term. But then, a bit like with the father, in the end, he just went back to his old habits, and I think he went back with with his original Wilson racket and so on and so forth. But yeah, I thought to myself in that loss to Mickelson that there was something not quite right. I wasn't sure if he was just sick, but because it was super hot, it was like one of those lunchtime matches in Melbourne, and 35 degrees or whatever, which is probably 90 odd in Fahrenheit. But yeah, by the way, Novak, just seeing him getting agitated there. When Andy was in his team, he couldn't get agitated because Andy's his friend. He couldn't scream at him. I know Goran's a friend, but because they weren't on the tour together, they didn't know each other, say, from when they were children, like Andy and Novak have. And they haven't been friends for 20 years. Okay, he looked up to Goran in many respects, of course, but there was this Serbian healthy tension where they can just shout at each other and it's not a big deal. If you ever go to a bar in Belgrade, you'll know exactly what I mean. So, but he needs that, and he feels comfortable doing it again now with his team. Whereas for 6 months with Andy, it was just too. You'd seen him talk to Andy, and he'd just be sort of nodding his head, sort of thing. But yeah, Andy doesn't have, and he's recognized it himself since he said it, admitted it. I don't have what can I coach? Novak, really, not a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to turn this into the Shelton love fest when he's not even playing, but my dream pairing for him is that Ben Shelton brings Goran Ivanisevic into his box as part of the team. You think about lefties that with massive serves that have had success on grass. It's a pretty short list, right? Goran's definitely on it. I also think he brings that world-class pedigree. I think he can help him get over the hump because right now, Shelton is right there. He's not quite over
There's
that.
two things that I would, and I know there's
Yeah.
always this with players, but there's two things that I would just love to see get a bit better. I'd love him to have a volley, like a really good one, and maybe that could come with time. And the other thing is the return.
Yeah.
Those two things. Now, you could talk about spot serving a bit, but with he could still have an amazing serving day and serve his way to a title, pretty much.
Yeah.
I
mean, so you keep bringing Agassi into the
Novak's
box.
gone long there. Novak's gone long. I was
yeah.
just thinking at love 15. You get carried away. I was just thinking at love 15. Wow, you know what? If he breaks here and the match has got an entirely different complexion.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he gets to 4-2 and Novak just getting a bit agitated, physically agitated as well, you can see that when he was sitting down at the last changeover, that his frustration was also said with a few sweat beads on his brow, and he was going to serve volley there as well, which I don't think would have been the worst idea in the world, but it's going to be
especially
a second
wide
serve.
to the backhand. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
A thing I'll toss out there. Look, what's the difference? Lerner is not missing easy shots anymore. He's not missing shots he's not supposed to miss, right? And so his consistency's gone up, and the match has gotten tighter, and Novak doesn't seem to love it.
He's
there he goes.
So Novak comes to the net, but the volley's not good enough, and Lerner chases that down. And like I said, I don't think, we don't need to reinvent the wheel in terms of Lerner. He's just got to play his game and see where that gets him.
That was a very, very casual volley attempt by Djokovic there.
Right, yeah. If you lose like Gael Monfils 18 times in a row, sure, that's a bit different. You can't just bring your normal game. I get it. But this is the first time they've ever played each other. So, okay, if Tien loses, like I said, 2, 3, and 1 or whatever, and you're like, yeah, he's just got that misinterpreted.
That was an aggressive swinging volley attempt, and I don't know that he needed to do it. That was a statement swinging volley, which is, I'm not giving you this game. I'm getting this back. Watch me do this. Let's see if Djokovic can keep it going here and fend off 2 more break points. That was an outrageous attempt after that first serve, too.
In a short answer to your question, Sean, no, I think it was doomed, whatever. I don't think that statement really probably made much difference. He was probably saying that to him in private, or would have done anyway, and that wouldn't have gone down well either. So
I concur, Doctor.
Good, you concur.
I think that Tsitsipas knows that he needs accountability, but I don't know that he actually wants accountability. And how do we know that? He just tired his dad again, right? Like
some aggressive second serves here from Novak. Even on that last one, which went into a small rally, was a good second serve. And Lerner's also not quite reading some of these second serves either.
Would you like to see Novak bring Federer into the box just for a stint, just to see what happens?
It would be fun, but I don't. It might not help. Like I said, I think he's fine with his Serbian buddies, and he can just scream at them. He's not going to scream at Roger.
It'd be fun if he did.
They would, yeah.
I think also, I don't think anybody can afford Roger at this point. He's making so much money off those shoes and that brand at this point. The Swiss, savvy business people.
So got into the rally here for the first time on any of these break points.
Tien making him work.
Just short. Those balls are just too short though on that time from Lerner. There's being like yourself, but you just got to be a bit deeper with those.
You're exactly right, John. I mean, you look at where their average shot is landing, and Tien is leaving it short. And every time he does, Djokovic is able to pounce and go from either neutral to offense or defense to neutral, sometimes defense to offensive. And you just don't see Djokovic leaving the ball short as much. And when he does, Tien isn't able to punish it the same way.
Right, of course, yeah. I did see something about Monica says, and I think they're coming from comments from his press conference, but I don't know if Djokovic was being a bit loose with his saying or what he said exactly. I don't know, but it might have been like, oh yeah, Monica would be an interesting addition to my team. And I don't know whether the media have raced away with that, thinking, oh, that means he's, or whether he said something more solid, or whether it's going to happen.
Can you imagine if he started hitting a 2-handed forehand? If he added her to his team? Speaking of which, I know it's not going to happen. I think Tsitsipas should add a second hand to his backhand. You can use both. Why not do it? It would mean basically taking a whole year.
I was at a
massive step back for a year.
I was at a press conference in Barcelona in 23, and he was asked that question. Actually, after he'd lost his final in that, so it's probably not the best time to ask that kind of question. Sure, ask it after he's won a couple of. You're not probably going to ask after he's won a couple of matches, of course,
right?
But equally, if you want to get that in there, that's sort of a sit-down interview when everyone's in a good mood before the tournament, sort of question. Yeah. Not after he's just lost the final to Alcaraz, and Alcaraz whipped him that day, I think, straight sets. But yeah, he was asked, and he just no. He actually gave a lot of very strange. I mean, I know he's a strange cookie anyway, but he gave a lot of very strange answers to his questions in that press conference that didn't really make any sense at all.
I was reading about it on some of his troubles. There we go. The good hold by Djokovic. First tough hold of the match for him, I believe. I was reading Reddit posts about Tsitsipas and his struggles, just to kind of take the pulse on what other folks are thinking. And I saw. This is not very nice. And certainly I'm not saying this. I'm repeating something that I read on Reddit. They called him light in the head.
Okay.
And
well, the social media post. You're familiar with what they could be like, right? Or his comments.
Oh my goodness, I'm off social media at the moment, but as someone who was on actively for a long time, but the thing is, he shows some personality. Is he going to win a spelling bee? Probably not. But he was an entertaining guy, at least, and I respect that he was willing to put himself out there that way.
And he's obviously got a website that he uses for sort of smart comments and just copies and pastes from there. But anyway,
Djokovic looks. I don't know. It's hard to describe what we're seeing out of him. He looks like somebody who has not come to terms with the fact that he just doesn't have quite what he used to, athletically and tennis wise. He's lost a step, maybe half a step. He doesn't have quite the same easy power. He's still got the same mind, but this is just and this is why sports are so great, right, John? This is not just about tennis. It's about aging. It's about life. This is somebody who's trying to do the stuff that he used to be able to do better than anybody else in the world. Now there are other people that can do it better than him, but he's still going for it. He's still trying. And I find myself getting almost emotional watching the older players continue to fight, continue to try to hang on, particularly a Wawrinka, an Andy Murray, a Gael Monfils, who they don't need it. They're not winning big tournaments anymore. They're just there because they love it, and they're not ready to move on yet. And Djokovic is getting closer and closer to that stage of his career.
Oh, was that a winner?
I think it was.
Ooh, 15.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's the golfer, Rory McIlroy. I was just about to say, do these declines, I think they do happen, but they're not quite so apparent in sports where it's not so physical. Does a chess player, as they get into their 40s or 50s, go, oh, I'm not as good as I used to be?
That's a great question. I think, Magnus Carlsen, I think they lose their focus, right? He is not interested in playing by the same set of rules as a governing body of chess, right? And
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I also think, though, in team sports, that the value of having that mind, it goes a little bit further and you also you can cover up the kind of the physical loss because, again, just having that veteran presence in the locker room, having that person that can mentor the young players and make other players better, it really goes a long way. I think, football, soccer, as we call it in the States, I think there are countless examples of players like Messi. He's not as fast as he used to be, right?
Sure.
But he's still...
physically, of course, that's normal to have a decline, and it's not sometimes it can literally be months. You can just see someone, and then a few months later they're not the same, and
unbelievable rally, by the way.
Oh, that's not a great drop shot there from
no, it wasn't.
Novak. See, look, Novak, they're just bailing out the rally,
Yeah, and is that physical? Is that mental? Is that
physical?
What's the why there, right? He looks tired.
I think, like I say, it'll get better for Novak in this tournament. I know it's only a set and a half, so you're a bit shocked by this. And by the way, I still think he's probably okay. The one thing in tennis, by the way, we'll just say this about players that sometimes maybe get accused of looking tired 1 minute and then 20 minutes later, they're fine. But what I think that they're not remembering is the importance of a sit down or the importance of a 5-minute break at the end of a set. You don't get that in a marathon. You don't get that as a football player, or you might get it a bit we can walk around a bit, but generally you've got to be on it physically non-stop for a period of time. Good serve there out wide, and he's held there, Lerner, from 15-30. So what you have in tennis is, even right now, this 60 to 90 seconds, or is it 60 or 90? I should know, really, as a so-called
I believe it's 90.
It's 90, right? So this 90 seconds can be invaluable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, okay, yeah, sure, probably, you know, if you're struggling a bit, you know, this 90 seconds can help, especially for the next point. And of course, if you have a physical point in the first 2 points, then suddenly it comes back a bit quicker, for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, a 5-minute break at the end of the set, 5-minute break, just resting, you know, does help a little bit. So you can be rejuvenated. Plus the scoreboard can help, you know, you can get that break somewhere, and suddenly that can give you some energy, or the crowd as well. So, yeah, but he's a bit, and I thought this would happen. So
yeah,
that's why I thought Lerner can just play his game and see where it gets him.
By the way, we are now seeing the match that I think we both expected to see. This is the level, this is the competitiveness that I think we were expecting out of Lerner Tien. Yeah, this is about right. So Jay, in reference to Tsitsipas, says he's a bit of a himbo. And John, my question for you is, who else would you put in that category on the men's side?
Well, you need to tell me what a himbo is. I don't really know.
It's like are you familiar with the term bimbo?
Yes.
It's the male equivalent. So bimbo, it's not funny, it's not nice. We don't do that anymore. Himbo is kind of funny. I think also, like, we're allowed to say it. So for example, Tommy Paul, bit of a himbo.
Okay, yeah. I think probably Tommy's, I don't know where he's from exactly in the US, but maybe even his accent or his style probably doesn't do him any favors on that front. The thing is with Stefanos, right? The thing that probably not annoys me, but just like makes me think, is that he tries too hard to be some sort of mega intelligent guy, and it just fails so miserably because he's so out of touch. Now, I am not always Nick Kyrgios's biggest fan, and there's certain times I think he's an idiot, but you know, the comments he made to Nick Kyrgios about what he doesn't understand. This is not basketball. This is a gentleman's sport. Those kind of things don't wash with a lot of people. Those comments don't wash anymore. You know, and his video with Paolo Badosa about a year ago of the male role in a relationship and the female role, they don't go down very well. And somebody really should be tapping him on the shoulder and say, look, these are not intelligent. You want to come across as being intelligent, you got to stop doing less, you got to do less stupid things.
Yeah. That's actually, John, just a great piece of life advice. If you want to come across as intelligent, don't say and do obviously stupid things.
Yeah,
and you know what? It's shocking how many professional athletes have a heart, and people in the world, by the way, cannot follow it. Those are silk words of wisdom to live by. Great point here. Yet again.
Rally. It's going to finish with a smash from Novak.
Pretty casual smash there.
Yeah, but he's sort of not the most comfortable smasher in the world.
True,
but it doesn't matter because he's got every other tool in the box. So,
John, I'm just going to call it right now. I think Lerner Tien is going to win this match, and it's going to keep me up past my bedtime. I'm looking at Djokovic, and I know that he does this. It's just at some point he'll look this way, and it'll actually be this way. He looks tired.
Right.
He looks like he doesn't have 5 sets in him. He looks like he doesn't have 4 sets in him.
Right. And you're right in that comment that we've seen him like this a million times before at various stages of matches, and he's won them comfortably, or he's won them in 5 or whatever. But you notice his grunt gets very pronounced when he's under pressure and under duress, but he still wins those matches. And I'm thinking about, I think he had a 5-setter maybe with Zverev in Australia and a 5-setter with Taylor Fritz in Australia as well, either the same year or maybe a year apart. And you just knew he was getting over the line somehow. Has he just missed that forehand? I think he has.
And you know what? You can maybe this is like body language interpretation nonsense. You can see it in his face. He doesn't have that same confidence. He doesn't have. I don't think he has the same belief anymore. I think that for 15, 20 years, he would walk on the court with total certainty he was the best player on that court. He was the best player in the world, and if he wasn't, didn't matter. He believed that he was. And when he would get down, he would go into the bathroom, he'd look himself in the mirror and say, you didn't overcome everything that you overcame to get to this moment and lose. Win.
We're going to see a lot more 7 volleying for the next half an hour, I think, as long as it proves to be effective like it did there.
Yeah.
Because it might, even though you're right, he is just really needing this done in straights, and he might do it. So therefore he won't need to be too concerned in terms of that, because he just gets one break here, so he holds here and then he breaks, and he's 2 sets to love up, and you're then very, very, very close to the finish line. So it's just a pity from Lerner's point of view. He couldn't have made that first set more physical and a bit like this set, for example. And
yeah,
even if he'd have lost that first set, 7-6, 7-5 or whatever, fine.
Lerner Tien.
Winner there.
Okay, inside out, man. I will say though, with Lerner, couple balls in that rally, he left him short inside the service line, and he's getting away with that now.
Got away with it there, yeah.
Earlier in the match. Let's see if Djokovic can pounce on those a little bit more, because if he can get away with that, he can win this match.
I think Tien's just got to win this set, and then it gets very interesting.
Yep.
If the chances of a Novak win, I think those odds were about right. I think it is 80-20 before the match starts.
Yep.
Oh, look at that serve clock.
The kid is relentless, by the way. He's just...
That's the thing that Novak has, isn't it? He's got even though he's not renowned for having the biggest serve in the world, he's got that serve, and it's the precision there as much as anything else that he can just pull off, and that can get him out of trouble, as it might well do in this service game, and it might well do in this match.
It's interesting to see the things that he's added to his game after 30. I mean, think about how rarely he would serve and volley before turning 30, and I think you're exactly right. He's going to come in behind his serve quite a bit now for the rest of the match, or at least until it stops working. And I think it shows, no matter what level, no matter what age, you can continue growing. You can continue adding new shots. You can continue adding new tools to your toolkit. And kudos to him for adapting and growing. It's something that Zverev has not done. It's something that Tsitsipas has not done. And it's what separates the greats from the merely very, very good.
Absolutely. But I mean, Rafa's serve got better as his career went on. Rafa's
net
play as well was something he added to his game definitely as his career progressed. Roger, probably the most radical one of all in terms of the backhand, taking it a lot earlier and being more aggressive. I'm just getting my charger. That's why I moved away from my laptop.
When you move away from the laptop, it does feel and look a little bit like the 2 cans of tennis balls behind you are sentient and doing the broadcast. It's kind of
fun. Okay, 15 all here. So this is what I mean. You see, Novak gets the break here.
Yep.
And then it's suddenly all this optimism. But if Tien can get to a tie break, for example, and get this set, then it goes from, but he had love 40, didn't he, as well? It goes from like 80-20 to 65-35. And you might not think that's a big change, but
even on that serve, Tien left it short. He's got to get a little bit more depth on basically every single shot. Because when he's keeping it deep, he's winning points.
Yeah.
Like that one right there.
And he doesn't have to be mega aggressive. I saw one of those shots did hit the baseline, to be fair. But he doesn't, just get it somewhere like he did for that last shot that Novak went big on. Yeah. And okay, Novak misses. So it's just when it's just way too short. But if it's, if it's still relatively comfortable for Novak, but you are moving him a little bit, that's fine. See, Novak's
that's such an aggressive attempt. That's such an aggressive attempt. I love that he went for it, though. He's playing to win this match. He's not playing to hang in there. He's going for it, Lerner Tien.
So's Novak as well a bit there. I mean, as soon as he got that return, you were like, okay, Novak's got the bit between his teeth in this rally, and he got that angle that he loves to be able to create, and that put Tien in a bit of a muddle.
John, if Lerner wins this set, I think I'm prepared to pour myself a nice half glass of wine. Just power through.
You should. What a defense there.
Oh!
You've got to win this point, though, Lerner. And you don't.
No. He worked so hard. He played such a great point, and he didn't deliver on the last shot.
I liked the idea of doing the drop shot there and bringing Novak in. Novak did great to get his racket on it and make Lerner hit another ball.
Yep.
I like that because, of course, making it physical. But you got to
hold. The crowd is going bananas right now, by the way.
Yeah, he's got to hold his serve here, though. Get to 5-4 and then see if Novak can serve to stay in the second set. But the other way round. And that'll rejuvenate Novak again, I think. Decent serve out wide.
Oh, wow.
He's in charge of this rally. Lovely, cool, because that's one when you're feeling nervous, you miss those.
Yeah, the belief. It's so important. It's in life, but in tennis. And learner Tien has the belief, because you're right, John. After that last miss, hard not to be in your head about that. You know,
Sure.
Even at the highest levels of sport. And he recovered, and he was automatic. Great serve, great serve plus one tennis. Not what learner Tien's known for either.
No. Oh, look at that return. Good defense, but he's in trouble here. Oh, wow. Learner Tien. Take a bow.
Woo.
He
This
was
kid.
on the back foot there. Novak did just about everything right.
There's somebody that looks a little bit like Jonah Hill in the crowd they're showing, but I don't think that it is.
Who is Jonah Hill, by the way? Sorry.
Come on, you know Jonah Hill.
Possibly.
Do you ever see Superbad?
No. I'm now going to check out Jonah
21
Hill.
Jump Street.
Sounds familiar. Oh, I know this guy. Yeah. No, it wasn't him, but I know him from Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow, what a ball by Djokovic there. What a point.
He's hanging on. Is Lerner. But he hung on in the previous point. Oh, lovely, Lerner.
He's done it.
Team.
And his box is
Novak
going
was
absolutely
so
wild.
The body language from Novak as that ball flew past him was such. I think he resigned and walked towards his chair before it even bounced the second time.
Wow.
Yeah, so Jonah Hill, I don't know those movies or that you just mentioned, but I do know Wolf of Wall Street, of course. What else is in his biography?
I think Superbad is something you should add to your to watch list if you get the. It's a great coming of age story. It's
Moneyball, of course, I'm familiar with.
Really?
Moneyball, yeah.
I'm surprised that made its way across the pond, as it's
because it's baseball, right?
Yeah,
and it's the reason why it's kind of comes up in conversation across the pond is there are some football clubs, obscure ones as well, not super well-known ones, but say there was one I think in Denmark or something that was sort of doing something a bit different and just trying to bring some objectivity to what is a very difficult thing to bring to in terms of soccer or football, as we call it. And they were referencing Moneyball a lot because I think isn't there some sort of philosophy where it's like there is a value and we can work it out scientifically, right?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, the idea behind it is you assign a value to each player, and so you need to have a total value of the team. But like it's a way of winning with a smaller budget because you don't need a superstar. Right. It's also it's a system of identifying players that are undervalued. For perhaps one of the examples famously is like there are players in baseball that are not particularly fit looking, for example, and they would oftentimes be undervalued. The heavier ones, and so just things like that.
The umpire.
Now, ironically, it's kind of come full circle, and they found that fielding and base running, things they believed were overvalued at the time of the writing, are now undervalued.
Just look at Novak.
Oh, interesting. He looks tired. I mean, look.
The umpire was sort of just looking at him constantly. Now, I don't know why he was looking at him constantly. Whether they'd had another conversation about the shot clock, I don't know.
Yeah.
But throughout that, I was just looking at both the umpire and Novak, and the umpire was just leaning towards him as though he was about to say something for about 45 seconds. So whether Novak had said something, I don't know, maybe he's like, I'm not feeling very well. And at one point, Novak had that sort of look that I've had a few times in my life when I'm leaning against the brick wall and regretting that last tequila.
Yeah, I mean, did him and the umpire have beef? Like there's
just
like
at the beginning of the match.
There's some like weird energy between the two of them, and Djokovic just looks tired. Okay, so the infamous one piece of chocolate story, yeah?
Yeah, I do, but I think Novak has said that might not be. He said that he sort of dismissed that in terms of being true.
Whether it's true or just kind of meant to.
It sounds very Novak. Even if that story, there's a million other examples like that in his life.
It conveys an accurate feeling about his level of commitment.
Yeah,
there's no question that he is having more than a piece of chocolate these days. He'll take the pictures when he's in Monte Carlo, in Rome, wherever, at the beach with the boys, doing some touristy stuff, the kind of stuff that he never used to do. he's smelling the roses a little bit. He's at that stage of his career and that stage of life too.
Yeah.
Harder to win.
There you go, backhand into the net, and I had a feeling that might just end that way. That rally.
Tien looks cocky. He looks like in a good way. He's got that Shelton walk to him right now.
Yeah.
The Michael Chang bump, baby.
Honestly, that's what I said to you when you asked me tactically, like at the beginning of the second set. Just bring your game and see where it gets you.
Yep. That serve motion is so clean. It's just beautiful.
I know. Yeah, it is, yeah. Lerner's just picking it up a bit here. And he's got a winner there. He's got a winner there.
Let's go. Let's go.
If what we are seeing with Novak is 100%, and I'm not saying he's necessarily faking it or faked it before, but if it is what we are seeing and we are going to see him, not get any better than this physically, like that's what would. And by the way, Novak, I think, took a break at the end of the first set, interestingly. So he's only allowed, I think, 2 in the entire match. You would guess it'll take another one, whether he wins or loses this set. But, he can't just wander off too many times because he's only allowed 2 in the entire match. So that's just another interesting. It was just interesting that he went off court, I think. I think he went off court, didn't he? At the end of the first set, even though it was 24 minutes and 6-1. But
30 all here.
Good. So again, that's what I mean. He's got that serve that Lerner can't always deal with.
It can bail him out a little bit. By the way, Jay has just referenced the greatest game of all time, Football Manager, something that I was logged thousands of hours on. There's a baseball equivalent called OOTP, Out of the Park, which is very similar and same idea. Serving at 30 all, Djokovic. To Tien's forehand, he gets it back deep. Take it away, John.
Block return there. I was just thinking of with the whenever I see a block return at the moment, I'm thinking of forehand into the net from Djokovic, and we're gonna have a set point. Just quickly on the block return, and one of Lerner's what's the word? Colleagues, if you like, someone of the same age anyway, same generation. João Fonseca doesn't have a block return, and he has been exposed against some really good servers of late, as Damien rightly pointed out for a preview to Fonseca against Kecmanovic, which was coming up tomorrow. Anyway, set point here. I'm going to talk us through this point. Novak, of course, desperate for a first serve. He gets the first serve, and in all likelihood, he'll win the point. But as Matthew points out in the chat, he's missed out on quite a few first serves in this set. But he's got it there. He's got the ace. And how many break points is that now? I think at least 4 in this set that have come and gone for Lerner. And he also had a break point in the first set. And so it's 5 break points so far of all come and gone for Lerner across these 2 sets. He's yet to break the Novak serve, but he's so close. Anyway, we're at deuce. And again,
he's keeping that pressure on, though, and that's all you can hope to do.
Hope for a second serve, or if you get the first serve, just get it back and with some interest. Yeah, that's not bad, but the drop shot's pretty good. Oh, unlucky Lerner. Game point.
Hey, is Djokovic going to the drop shot a touch more than you would have expected in this match?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. Yeah. Again, shortening the points where possible. A little bit, yeah. I think that was possibly a bit more natural, that one, and that was probably the right play at the right time. But there were 1 or 2 other ones that were like, okay, feel like he was bailing out the rally. Hi, Ashley, by the way. I do hit that like button for everyone else that's tuning in. Game point here for Novak, anyway.
John, what are we prepared to do for somebody to hit that like button after this point?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do anything too crazy, just for a like anyway. I mean, of course, if it was a wild donation or a multi-million-dollar sponsorship, I could do pretty much anything. But I think for a mere like, I think I'm not going to do anything too crazy. I mean, I just can't think of anything that's not crazy. I've got all sorts of crazy ideas, and yeah, for sure, I would do them, but for a like. Oh, Novak's gone long there for
another deuce. Another deuce.
Wow. I might make another cup of tea. But I would be doing that for myself. Not
you are prepared to make another cup of tea for a like.
How generous! How wild is that?
Give you a little boost. Yeah, it means it's late over there. What time is it in Germany at the moment?
2:42.
Your sleep schedule, man. I don't know how you do it. It's 8:42 and we're approaching my bedtime.
I do shifts and they are all over the show, so that's also part of the reason. So I did a shift, lovely forehand winner there from Novak. I did a shift today that was 4 p.m. to midnight, and I'm doing 3 or 4 more of those in the next coming days.
So tell us what you do for your day job when you're not talking tennis.
I work for Germany's international public broadcaster, similar to what the BBC offers in the UK, although we're a little bit less known, but we do offer, and we offer in 30 different languages, I believe. And yeah, that's what I do. I guess I could elaborate a bit more. I tend to do more writing and editing than anything else, but occasionally I'll do some voiceovers. I've been doing in the last couple of weeks for short videos on anything news, basically. Right, here we go. There you go, Lerner. Nice there. This is exactly, you know what, even if he does end up losing this game, it's fine. You know, it's not fine, but, you know, 5-all, and Novak has just been pushed around the court for another 15 minutes.
Could this be a Pyrrhic game for Novak Djokovic?
Just quickly. So what was your question?
Oh, could this be a Pyrrhic? This game, could it be a Pyrrhic victory for him?
A what victory?
Pyrrhic victory, when you win the game but you lose the set. It's like a military thing from like back in the day. Like you win the battle but you lose the war as a result.
Win the battle, lose the war. Yeah. He's going to serve volley here, and it's going to be the right choice, I think.
Wow, this is tennis. This is unbelievable level for both players. And Tien looks like he's having fun out there, even though he's not winning. And Djokovic looks like he doesn't understand or particularly enjoy what's happening.
Just get another juice, you know, just get another juice. You know, it's like almost a computer game when you see or the fighting games you used to see, like Street Fight, and your opponent would just lose a bit of energy and all that, and they're getting the red zone, you know. Yeah. Novak drop shot more because Chang told T to stay back on the turn and in the rally. Okay.
Interesting. Good analysis from the chat. We always love it when y'all get engaged as Djokovic gets the hold. John, I can't think of a better job if I was, I don't know, let's just say a spy than what you've just described. Really? Do you care to confirm or deny the allegations?
If I was a spy, of course I would. What would I do? I would just, maybe I'd just smile and just laugh it off. Or would I get all like anxious and go, no, of course I'm not, you know, and it'd be like, oh, that's a little bit too much of a refute.
I think he played exactly like this, if we're being honest.
I think whatever way I reacted, you'd say that.
Yeah. Maybe. Here we go. 5-all, Tien serving. Let's see what he does. Not much for the first as he misses.
That's the other thing, though. On the flip side, Tien doesn't have that serve that can get him out of trouble, you know, and that's it's okay, but in terms of the physicality, because Novak obviously needs some shorter points. There you go. There's these errors from Novak are not normal, at least. So again, I'm not saying he can't be rejuvenated one way or another. I'm not saying
he looks exhausted. And you know what? I don't blame him. Look at what Lerner Tien's making him do to win a point.
This set has been over an hour, and we're only at 5-all.
Oh wow!
If this goes to a tiebreak, we're looking at a 1 hour 15 set probably.
Wow!
And that's what Lerner needs. He needs 3 or 4 of those.
Look, I know that I'm a total Lerner Tien stan, but the young American, he's a big match player. You can tell that he is comfortable and relishes the big matches. And I think
that's why it was a bit of a surprise that first set was just panned out the way it did. You know, Novak winning this in straights wouldn't shock me, but pre-match, although I did think that Tien would make it very difficult and probably win a set. But Novak, but I probably didn't quite see a 24-minute set occurring in a 6-1 like it did. Oh, I thought a double might be coming there. 15-30.
Now Matthew says the commentators are now speaking about how Novak is looking like Roger when he lost Millman. They smell an upset. Yeah,
but that was very exceptional. That was incredibly hot that day, and it was so humid. And I think it went 5, and Roger was just dripping in sweat.
I mean, Novak doesn't look dry.
Not dry, no, that's true. But it was much like I know there was been some comments in the chat early on about the weather, but it's not been. I saw quite a good, certainly during the day, pretty good breeze during that Iala match. Now I know on outer courts you'll probably see a bit more breeze than you will on a big stadium court like Ash. I know that was also still on a stadium court, but not obviously Ash. But There's been far hotter days than this in New York for sure.
Yeah.
Decent return there from Novak into the rally here.
Tien does a great job keeping it
Stay
deep there.
pretty solid. There you go. Another uncharacteristic error there from Novak. Now, these errors just do not happen to Novak, even an off-color Novak. So, game point, Lerner. Just get that hold. Get to the tiebreak if needs be. You'd fancy even Novak in this condition to just grit his teeth and pull through a tiebreak. But let's see what you're made of, Novak. I mean, we do know what you're made of because we've been watching you for the last 20 years.
We know what he has been made of.
Yeah.
We know what he's still made of.
Lovely learner. Lovely learner.
Wow.
And there's been a few winners, by the way. I'm not sure if that was one of them, but there's been a few winners from Lerner today that have been excellent. But normally you'd expect Novak to stretch for it and try and get his racket on it and make Lerner play an extra ball. Now, I'm not sure if that one would fall into that category, but there have been one or two winners from Lerner where Novak is not disinterested. That's not the right thing. It's just, there's no way I'm busting a gut for this because I need to save every little bit of energy I can. So he's talking to his team a lot. I don't know what he's saying. It might be.
I just got a text, John, that I want to read out. Sure. If Djokovic loses this set, he's definitely going to call the trainer for an, in quotes, injury. And let's see what let's see if that text message prediction comes true here.
I think he wants some advice, but he doesn't know what. He just
what is going on with the team? They're standing. They look confused. They clearly seem to be searching for something, but the what is unclear to me. John, do you know what's going on there with his box?
Maybe they're just searching for answers. This is sort of Stefanos Tsitsipas trying to be clever, sort of response. Okay, so there's the iPad out. I heard one of the commentators on the TV here say, "Oh, they got the iPad out. Give me something from the iPad." I think he was sort of doing this with his eyes. So,
I mean, I wonder if they're checking his levels. I mean, what's this? At a certain point in a tennis match like this, managing your heart rate becomes almost as important as your shot selection. And so, I wonder if if he's asking for feedback on his, various levels. I don't know.
I also think Lerner, if the physical travails are as serious as they appear, yes, Lerner will be devastated to lose this set. Having had so many break points and one of which was a set point, and looking the better player at large times and seeing an off-color Novak and then still lose the set would be extremely dispiriting. But surely there's still a set in this for him. And therefore, surely there's a set in this for him. And therefore, 2 sets to 1 down, let's say in another hour from now, I don't know. I mean, I of course, you really want to win this set, given the chances you've had and where Novak is at right now, and really just shake Novak, even the 24-time Grand Slam winner.
Absolutely. And got to give credit where credit's due. Matthew D'Souza did say at the beginning of this that Novak didn't want another Brooksby match. He's not physically equipped to deal with that. And that's exactly what he seems to have gotten in his second set.
And he just needs to, it's a pity he couldn't give him that in the first set, even if he'd lost that first set, like I said, 6-4 or whatever, but just make it a Lerner-Tien match in a way.
Well, that was a very close serve there.
Yeah,
and only 81 miles an hour, John.
This is fine from Lerner. Moving him around a bit, but he's given Novak that angle in a way. Unfortunately, he's done the right thing moving him around, but sometimes Novak, when he gets that chance to create the angle, I heard Rafa talk about this on the Andy Roddick podcast a few months ago when he said, "Look, one thing I used to hit down the middle a lot actually with Novak in the end because I didn't want to give him the angles that he loves."
The best thing the team can do for the tiebreaker is make this as long of a game as possible, and he's not off to a great start. Let's see if he can get on the board here.
No, he's not.
But he's going to have a second serve.
The number of second serves he's getting in this set seems to be quite high. So
I think Djokovic made 80% or 80% plus of his serves in the first set.
Did he? Wow.
Look at how
There you go.
look at how short that return was, and look at how little Djokovic did with it missing that ball. I mean, that is not the Novak Djokovic that we all know and love. Well, that I know, that we know, and that I love, and that some others love as well.
They want to get this drink to him as well.
Another text that I just got, is this mixologist thing real?
I think he was. I'm not sure, Matthew. Oh, by the way, yeah, I thought that was the trainer because they was just showing Novak in a sort of blurred screen, and they were highlighting the way they can do that with the camera, right? You sort of cinematically highlight the guy behind Novak when that was a guy with something over his shoulder. That's nice from Novak. Should help him win this point.
What a get, though.
It was an incredible get. What an incredible get that is. He's not going to get that one, but still. 40-15, so 2 game points for Novak. Yes, so I think we're going to see the trainer come on at the end of this set, whether Novak, but he can't come on until after the tiebreak. So,
gosh, that forehand was so close. I mean, this is a masterful point from Djokovic. Look at how far back and how wide he had Tien.
Yeah.
You talk about having the full court. He didn't have the full singles court. He had the full arena practically to work with there. Nope. And the trainer is waiting, as Matthew points out, and as you did too, John. Vintage Djokovic.
But I think the trainer nor that drink can help him out until after this set.
This feels like vindication for anybody who's truly believed in Lerner Tien, because I think the talking tennis community has been bullish on him for a full year now. And I think some folks, because he didn't have big flashy weapons, didn't think that it was serious, but it is. This kid can play. He's got to stop leaving it short, though. It's driving me nuts here.
There you go. So we are going into the tiebreak. The reason why I'm probably not quite as bullish as Matthew is for Lerner in this tiebreak is just I know Novak can bring out 7 big serves,
Oh, yeah. It's true. It's true. He can bail himself out.
And he can get some cheapish points, either on return serves or aces or serve and volleys. So, and you mentally here, you just sort of go, just dig deep for the next 5 minutes, and I'm almost there,
So I want to ask a question, John, and I'm not trying to be weird about this, but like Djokovic looks to me as if he is filled out a little bit, and it's not like he's out of shape. It looks like he's just put on a touch extra muscle, and I wonder if that's part of why he's struggling so much with the stamina here.
Mm-hmm. Learner, love 0-1.
Cannot miss that ball. Cannot miss that ball if he's going to win this match. Novak is he's stretching his arms. He's stretching his legs.
Now
what is going on with him?
25 seconds now. That's obviously rolling as we speak. He's had a warning. So the next one means he had that warning right at the beginning of the match, if you remember. Next time he loses a serve.
He was trying to save that warning for a moment like this.
Second serve. Now we can take all the time in the world.
He is stepping gingerly. John, I think that he might. I mean, so Jay just put in the chat cramps ? I think maybe. I don't want to believe it. It's too early. It doesn't make sense, but maybe. And look at him. Look at him. Look at him. I think Jay is right. I think that he is cramping. Do you believe it?
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
The only thing I will say is it's not as pronounced as what we saw with Carlos 2 years ago at the French Open, where Carlos just couldn't move basically for 15, 20 minutes almost.
Not yet, but I mean, look, if they got another hour plus on the court, it's not like it's getting better. I mean, they just got to have a whole jug full of pickle juice for him.
He needs some second serves, and he's going to get another one here.
Yeah. John, I don't think I would have bet that Novak Djokovic might be cramping up in the second set in a million years, even at 38 years old.
No. Oh, I thought it
Look at him pulling up his leg there.
Some lovely neck clearances here from Lerner. Like nice low ones that just stay in this rally. Lerner.
How many shots is that
shot
rally?
He's going to miss, I think. No, it's landed in.
Oh, it landed again. Wow. Did it land or was that deep?
It landed out.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's 2-1.
I don't believe my eyes. This is
I thought when I saw that drop shot float over the net, by the way, and it was anything but the best drop shot in the world, I actually thought that it was going to go out, as in wide. That's why I said I think that's going out. It must have just clipped the line.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this volley lob just goes long, I think.
The truth be told, I thought
which is why you don't see him, hit it back, basically, because I think he would have probably lost the point still, but you would have seen Lerner get that back in play for sure. And again, the drop shot there, I mean, we don't even need to say it anymore. These are obviously all shots coming from Novak because he wants to shorten the point. That's nice from Lerner, but don't give it away like that. 2-2.
Truth be told, John, I thought, as much as I wanted Lerner to make this go 5 or win this or extend it or whatever, I thought it might be over in about 2 hours. So I just texted the boss, texted my wife, Sarah, Dr. Cunningham, might be here for a little bit.
Yeah, stay as long as you physically can as well. You and Novak, different ailments today, but you with your tooth and Novak with either cramps or whatever he's got going on.
Not to,
as bad as Novak is physically, he's still there.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like, he's in charge of this rally right now, but that doesn't mean he's going to win the point. And like I say, Novak just, Novak wins this point, and then there's a drop shot here that's going to land in. This one's going to land in.
Okay, Lerner, don't be. Come on, make reasonable choices. Not the time for a tweeter.
No.
Come on, man. Although it was fun to watch, but that was dumb. That was a 19-year-old. That was one of the rare I am 19 years old shots that you will ever see out of Lerner Tien. I believe it's R. Kelly that had a song where the line was, my mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. I feel like that the opposite of that is Novak Djokovic right now. Yeah. Forgive me for citing an R. Kelly song on the talk. I know he is in jail and he deserves to be there.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
Hey, who is the most in jail person that you're willing to quote to explain what's happening in this match, John?
Don't know.
Really put some thought.
It would have been easy. It would have been.
Question.
Oh, he's losing a serve.
Wow. Okay, his box looks nervous. Looks like the gravy train's coming to an end for those fellas.
So next time will be a point, but he'll just think that if I can get through this tie break. By the way, listen. Any silly people sort of thinking that clearly means he needs he is struggling in the biggest possible way. You don't lose a serve if you're not. Serve volley anyway. He's missed it.
He missed the volley.
And you know what? Even though it was a second serve and you wouldn't normally back it up with a serve volley, he had a nice volley there, pretty close to the net. When he was about to hit that volley, I thought, oh, this is really good for Novak. Because Lerner was so deep, of course, on the return. Look at him shaking. Can you see that? As he's drinking that bottle, he was shaking.
His team, look at the faces and look at the expressions on his team. I don't think I've ever seen his box look like this.
I did see, not necessarily this early in the match necessarily, but I did see this, which is why I was very happy with Lerner bringing this to a guy who hasn't played since Wimbledon and a guy who's 38 years old and a guy who isn't quite as a menace physically as he was, say, 2 years ago. And I did just highlight, of course, recently the lack of 5-setters he's had in the last 18 months.
This is incredible. What a performance by Lerner Tien.
No.
But still, this set is now officially almost 3 times as long as the first set. Good on the youngster to extend this and really, really push the GOAT here.
See, Novak as well does have another thing in his locker in these moments that other players physically won't have. Huge return as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So, he'll always have that in a way.
I mean, it's such a stylistic clash. Yeah, Tien, he doesn't have the weapons, but he's got the legs right now. Yeah. He's got the legs and he's got the belief, and he's got to stop leaving it short. It's
that was short there, yeah. Oh, and Novak's hitting that
Novak
well.
Left it short there. Then Tien left it short right back.
Yeah, yeah.
What a rally. Wow. Wow. Point of the match, John?
Probably.
Pretty darn
I always
close.
like a point to finish like that with a winner, though.
Look at Tien. He's smiling. He's having fun. He is having the time of his life out there. Does Djokovic look that way?
No. 24 shots that rally.
24 shots. Felt like about 50, by the way.
I just wonder if Lerner should rush Novak a bit more with these serves, because you've got to get the server's pace, right?
So technically, you do not.
Oh, really?
So that is very much like a norm and a standard, but that is not the letter of the law. So you can put your racket up as a returner and say, nope, I'm not ready yet. And
eager style.
Yeah. And so he could put Djokovic in a position where he has to do that and turns the crowd against him further. But it doesn't strike me that that's the kind of young man to learn Tien is. I in the moments like this, I wish he was, though. It really
double fall. I feared it.
Come on.
I feared it just because I thought, give Novak a couple of. Now it could be just one serve, but give Novak a couple of serves, and he might be struggling because. So you get to 5-4, and then Novak has to win 2 points on his serve. But obviously now he's got 3 set points.
Wow. It doesn't feel like set number 3, regardless of outcome here, is going to be a fast one.
Good serve from Novak, but well defended. See, the thing is, he's so far back that makes that point really difficult. He's so far back. Yeah, there's the trainer. Lerner's so far back there that he's like the ball's that quite short there from Novak is actually a struggle for Lerner because he's having to lean into it,
Wow. Who's playing on center court right now?
On what court?
On the because is Arthur Ashe center court the main court?
Arthur Ashe is the main one. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Just having a look around the grounds right now. Hang on.
I'm pulling up some other scores on my phone.
So De Jong and Nakashima, 1 set apiece. Navoni is fighting back against Giron, so he's got it to suit 2 sets to 1. Thompson beat Mute in the end. Medvedev and Bonzi just getting underway on Louis Armstrong.
Medvedev could have a late night, and he doesn't like that.
Bonzi beat him in Wimbledon this year.
That's right. Azarenka, 7-0 in the tiebreak. Don't see that very often.
She was up last I saw. I don't know what she's doing right now, but
she's up.
Yeah,
set and tied 3-all in the second.
So let's.
All right. So can we get the idea of what is the physically
I'm
issue?
watching him now. First, I'm watching him now. So it looks like he's going to get something on his foot.
I see he's got tape on his toe.
Yeah, I see
is
that.
It a blister?
Well, yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Ooh. If you're a foot person, I deeply apologize for what you've just seen. That must be very difficult. Woof. People would pay to not have seen that foot that we just saw, in fact.
Okay, medical timeout. So he's got 5 minutes, I think.
That's 5. That's a total of 10 then, yeah? Because
can you
stack? Yeah. John, I'm going to go step out for about 6 minutes, if that's all right. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this broadcast. I'm just going to look at my tooth in the mirror and whine a little bit, and they'll be back and ready for set number 3.
Chill. See you soon.
Adieu.
Okay, as I see his foot get tended to, Novak dug deep as I imagined he might. And yeah, I thought, Matthew, that he could dig deep and just get over the line in that tie break and then see where you're at. And he's 2 sets to love up. This break will do him some good, you would have thought. And Lerner's got to do another set. Lerner can do another set like that. And I think he probably will do another set like that. We'll see how that pans out. I'm just going to take a quick break as well. And when we come back, we'll be here for the 3rd set.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Okay, so the medical timeout is at an end. I just put the kettle on if you wondered where I was. But he's not ready yet. It's not even close, as Mary Carrillo points out. Putting 2 pairs of socks on, looks like. I mean, technically, he could lose a point here. I don't think he will, but he could. Lerner, I think, should have taken to the court. Lerner should have been just standing on the court waiting. That would have shown that there was an issue. Here we go. So, of course, by the letter of the law, I think he would lose a point, but I don't think he will. Right. Djokovic to serve. I think we'll see a rejuvenated Djokovic for the next 2 or 3 games, and it might just be enough if he gets an early break. What you want from Lerner is just another set like that. That's what you want to do if you're Lerner. Just reproduce another set like that, and I think you get to 2-1. $15 love. Yeah, I'm expecting a burst here from Novak of energy. Maybe a bit of both, Matthew, but certainly Novak dug deep in many respects. The double fault from Lerner is not helpful, that's for sure. And in a tiebreak, just 1 point, a 2-point swing, of course, that would be, might have been enough for Novak to win that set. I think he needed Novak to have a couple of serves. Lerner's hit 5 double faults in this match, by the way. 0 from Novak. Interesting, because Novak, it feels like he has been quite aggressive on that second serve at times. But he's still landing them in. That was a risky second serve as well, but it's paying dividends, I think, because Novak is very much in charge at this point. Oh, it's landed in. Novak came to the net. I thought that shot had missed, but it must have just dipped in. Yeah. Second serves from Novak are close to the line, but not necessarily that fast. I saw an 88-mile-an-hour second serve. The previous serve, this one's going to be a double fault. I was just talking that up. No double faults in the entire match, and there's one for you for Novak, his first of the match. For those of you that don't play tennis on a regular basis, I can tell you this, at least this is from my perspective. When you really are physically tired, the service motion is tough. So it looks like it's a motion and you can win points pretty quickly and easily. But actually, the more tired you get, the more difficult serving becomes. And in fact, returning is a lot easier. That's a good serve volley there. For me, at least, when I'm struggling physically, the serve, and I'm not a big serve anything but, Zach, but I just find it, a real effort.
Specifically the legs really go, and it's such it looks smooth and elegant the way that Djokovic does it, but it's an extremely explosive motion. I mean, it's like doing a squat there you
go, Lerner.
There he is. It's the first break of the match. Yeah,
first break for Lerner of the match. Yeah.
Oh, Djokovic expressing displeasure.
Smash, but...
Would you call it smash adjacent, John?
Say again.
Would you call that smash adjacent?
Adjacent? What's adjacent?
It's like, it's not quite smash, but it's like right next to it.
Yeah. I don't know if John Blom saw it, because I think you don't have to destroy your racket to get a, what's the word? A caution or whatever the tennis terminology is.
Yeah, so Jay points out in the chat that their legs become really heavy when they're tired, and I think certainly you see that in the serve. But John, to your point, when you're set in the stance on a return, you can kind of start low and you can make up for it. You start to see that same leg challenges on the serve in the points in those extended rallies, but that on that return you can mask it a little bit, and Djokovic is amazing at doing that. Let's see if he can get this break back here.
See, Lerner actually just needs another set like the previous one, because I think he wins that set 8 times out of 10.
I think he wins the next set if it's equally as long 9 times.
That's what I mean. So if he just does another, I think he wins most of the time that last set. And it'll get even more regular, if you'd have thought, more probable the longer the match goes on. So if he just has another set, well, of course he's up a break now. So, if he can just hold serve throughout, then he's fine. But even just say they were on serve, if he played that set, normally he converts one of those 5. We had 1 set point, didn't he? And he had obviously a bunch of break points as well.
It's got to be infuriating. Imagine you got a blister and you're cramping and your whole body hurts, and you look up and you just see the tagline, "The world's healthiest sport." I've got to imagine that's so irritating for Djokovic right now. I don't feel very healthy. Ooh, they say, John, it's not a break until you hold.
Until you consolidate, yeah, exactly.
Until you consolidate sounds so much nicer. I like that.
Yeah, it's got a bit more. It's almost a rhyme, isn't it? Break, consolidate. Actually, Novak in this game does look a bit fresher.
So forgive me for stepping out there. How long was the total time between?
Oh, he took it to the nth degree. Not necessarily his fault. He's obviously getting treatment. He's obviously there with the trainer. The trainer's doing what they can. Maybe John didn't say anything like 30 seconds before, but it got to 5 minutes and Novak was nowhere near ready to come. Yeah. He basically still had a shoe and socks off and wristbands and all sorts. So it's probably, I think they showed it in the end. It was an extra 2 minutes he got, but no big deal. Yeah.
Look, it's all about the fans.
Break point.
There we go. A little extra time. It's good for the fans. Speaking of tennis being the world's healthiest sport, I'm about to take an Advil because my left Achilles tendon hurts because tennis.
Okay. So break point here for Novak. Get it back on serve immediately. That'll be dispiriting for Lerner, having waited more than 2 hours or almost 2 hours to get the break, gets the break, and then loses it immediately. But we'll see. Yeah, Novak does. I suggested that Novak would, and he's got the break, so it's 1-1. I suggested that Novak would begin this set a little bit fresher again, and it would then depend on Lerner if we could get to sort of 3 or 4 and see where you're at. But what I didn't actually anticipate was an immediate break. But Novak does look a little bit better and he will do for the next 10 or 15 minutes. It'll return when this match gets attritional again, like it did at times in that second set. But for this next couple of games, I actually almost thought, you know what, Novak could just be fresh enough in the first 10 minutes to basically win the match because he could get to 3-love, for example, and that's done.
Well, look, if he'd held his serve, he'd be on track to do just that, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So question, and forgive me for missing this, and also maybe for folks that are just now joining, does he have a blister on his big toe? Was that clear during the changeover?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, how bad we talking here?
Didn't look incredibly bad. There was nothing super obvious. Obviously, we saw that little bit of tape or plaster on it. That came off. Another one went on, but it didn't look like ridiculously bad. I must say, I didn't hone in too much on it because I just rather look at other things. But from what I saw, it didn't look too bad.
It very much looked like he was cramping in that set.
Yeah, it did look a bit like that, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's tough to reverse that. So I think
that is tough to reverse it. So I don't know if it was like, big style cramping. Yeah, basically Carlos was never the same for the rest of that match. So Carlos cramps, gives away a game, can't move his legs. Novak even comes across the other side of the net to help him to his chair. This is at like 1 set all, and I think they were on serve. Carlos gifts the game and therefore loses his serve because of that.
There's that serve you're talking about, John.
And that was the match done, basically. I think he won, I'm going to say, 2 or 3 games for the rest of the match.
Have you ever cramped up when you were in a match?
No, I've never really had cramp. I've had a couple of sort of shoots up the leg that maybe is cramp-like in my life, but actually not during sport, just in the most unusual moments. And I'm just, my leg is just like, and I'm getting them probably a bit more often as I get older, but not during a sporting activity. So
I've had challenges over the last few years, particularly in that June to August period with cramps. And in my experience, it starts and it's just a matter of, you cannot reverse it. You can slow it, but you can't even really stop it, right? The only way you stop it is by ending the match and spending time hydrating. It's tough, though, not just on the player cramping, but sometimes on the other person, because it's so hard to continue to play your normal game. When you see somebody kind of hobbling around, they also tend to, like, I know, at least for me, and oftentimes on the Pro Tour and rec level as well, the players will start throwing junk. They'll start hitting weird slice serves, underhand. They'll just start getting a little more creative, and it can actually take the person who's not cramping out of rhythm. Not that is what's going to happen. Not that Djokovic is going to get there. But if we do see cramp-like symptoms from him, or he starts full-on cramping, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him just throwing all kinds of weirdness at Lerner Tien to try and get this thing done. Great example of that. Do you remember the Gaston Gaudio, Guillermo Coria French Open final?
I don't remember the final, but that was the one. Is that the last one before the Rafa era?
I believe it was. And Coria cramped up. And Gaudio ended up winning that match. But, just the sets where Coria was trying to battle through, they were admirable, but not particularly fun tennis, although it was interesting to watch.
I think I might have mentioned this when you were on the stream before, but Thompson beat Mute in the end in 4 sets. De Jong is up 2-1 on Nakashima, so slight surprise there. I love De Jong's game, but probably a bit more on a clay court than a hard court. And Nakashima, I think, is a very capable hard court player. And of course, this time last year was knocking Holger Rune out the first round. Navon, as I said, is mounting a comeback, but he is serving to stay in the match right now, albeit they are obviously still on serve. And Tien here up against Djokovic. Tien winning the first point on his serve here. So Tien getting the early break, first one of the match, and then gets broken back. And now Djokovic is consolidated. And yeah, Djokovic just looks a good 10 or 20% better than he did. Look at that return there from Novak.
Oh my goodness. You talked about it earlier, right? He's got that big return as well. And it's such an advantage in moments like that. Hey, Sport and Politics has entered the chat. Sport and Politics, we'd love a prediction on what we think is going to happen this set. Matthew, Jay, get in there as well with what you think is going to go down.
Just wonder now if this has got straight sets now. Novak just feels as though that medical timeout was enough for him to just recharge the batteries and just go again for 15, 20 minutes, and that might be all it takes.
Are you familiar with the television series Breaking Bad? I promise this is related to tennis.
I am. I haven't seen it, but of course it's one of the most well-known TV series from the last sort of 20 years or so, yeah.
Have you seen the "he can't keep getting away with this" meme from that?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, the gist of it is Jesse Pinkman, one of the main characters, is crying and going, "He can't keep getting away with this." That's a little bit how I feel about Novak Djokovic. How many times is he going to look, oh no, he doesn't look good out there. Oh, he's not going to get it done. And then he does this. He's got 2 break points to get back in the driver's seat. What looked to be Lerner Tien's match might very well end up somehow being a Djokovic straight setter.
He just had a bit of advice there, I think, from Michael Chang. I saw Lerner just listen to something from his box and sort of nod and agree. Whether that was make sure you get your first serve in, I'm not sure, but he didn't.
Just hit
Lerner.
That's it. John, is that the match?
Probably, yeah. Because I think Novak's energy levels are okay for the next 15 minutes or so, and that might be all it takes. He just needs to serve decent for the 3 games, and that's it. Make some big returns on Lerner as well as soon as you get half a chance, which you pretty much do on every serve of Lerner's. Go big, see where that gets you. If you get, if Lerner holds to love, doesn't matter.
Tennis really is the most perfect scoring system ever designed.
Oh, I love it, yeah. I know you can think of other sports as well, but there's nothing quite like, being, millimeters away from winning a match and then 2 hours later you've lost. You can have that match point. I love that you can have a match point and you're in the rally, for example, especially, and then because you're 2 sets to love up and you've got a break point maybe on your opponent's serve or match point on your opponent's serve, and you're in the rally and you don't win that point, so match point comes and goes, and then it's 2 hours later.
Yeah.
I know that's not necessarily the thing you were thinking of most. You were thinking of, obviously, the thing that's most crazy is the ad and the juice and all that. And I'm thinking of a game, for example, that Djokovic himself was involved in. In fact, he was involved in 2 epic games. That I think he lost both of them. One was against Holger Rune in 2022 in the final of Paris-Bercy. And it was Rune serving for the match. And in the end, Rune did serve it out, but it was about 15, 20 minutes hold and basically got over the line. An unbelievable match. Just so many juices. And that was as Rune was serving for the title. So that made it even more special. Another one was that Novak was in that he also lost was against Alcaraz in the 2023 final.
That's right.
At Wimbledon. And I think it was close to half an hour, that game.
That's an uncharacteristic miss, by the way, from Djokovic at 30 love there. And you know, maybe that's just a blip, but maybe already he started to tire out in set number 3 here. Back to the most perfect scoring system. You're so right. That was not specifically the thing that I was thinking of, but as you're saying, I was like, God, I love tennis. He's so right. He's so right. And there's so many little quirks like that. You can't run out the clock in tennis. There's no taking a kneel. There's no getting a point at 0-0.
Yeah.
Oh, Djokovic got away with one there.
Yeah,
that was not a good. I mean, good guess on Tien's part, but also that volley was not nearly enough. What is the design on Lerner's shirt there exactly? What would you call it?
So this is a new thing from Adidas. I don't even know what the Y3 is. I've seen a lot, but I think everyone who's wearing Adidas is wearing something to do with Y3. When I first saw it on an Adidas athlete, I thought they'd even changed their kit sponsor, or whatever you call it, the kit manufacturer that they were using. It might have been on Pagula. And I was like, oh, maybe she's not with Adidas anymore because it just said Y3 everywhere. And then it was on closer inspection. I still saw the 3 stripes. So whether the 3 stands for like that 3 stripes, I don't know, but maybe someone in the chat can inform us.
Can we just say a moment to note that return from Lerner Tien? That is the biggest return I've seen him go for the whole match. Can you remember him going for a bigger one than that?
No.
I mean, I think
an 84-mile-an-hour second serve. Novak's second serve speeds are down a bit anyway. You'd expect them to be in the 90s, I think. And there's been quite a lot in the 80s. So
that's interesting. You know, I think the first is still there, but as we talked about, the tired legs might give Tien an opportunity to play a little closer in.
There you go, juice. Yeah. There you go.
This is what he needs. These long games.
I do feel like this game is huge because I just think Novak at 4-1, and threatening the Lerner serve as he can. But 3-2 and we're back on serve.
Matthew certainly agrees with you, by the way, that and it says that this is the game. Tien either breaks back now or he's done. John, do you agree with that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I agree with Jay, which is I have no real prediction, but they would like it to go another set, as would I.
Yeah.
This is high level, fantastic tennis. I continue to be so bullish about the young American. There goes that serve and volley that we talked about earlier.
I think it would be a decent tactic for Novak anyway, because he's good at executing it. He's got one of the best serves in the game, and Lerner's so far back anyway. But then throw in the physical issues that Novak has had at various points. It just makes even more sense, even on a second serve.
In set number 2 there, I remember him coming in on a second serve. I believe it was after he lost his first serve to time. But I don't think he'll be coming in after a second here.
Dear me, Lerner, that lob is not working in a million years. And he does get to 4-1. Yeah, I tend to feel that way. I think that game was getting back to juice there. Gets a sniff at the Novak serve.
That really was a weak lob attempt on Tien's part. A thing I'll throw out there, and I'm curious if you observe this as well. Djokovic was going to Tien's backhand side on the lob every single time. There's an exchange where he had a few lob volleys at the backhand, and Tien does not seem able to do much with it. You'll notice that Tien did not seemingly even get it. That was going to be a forehand side overhead for Djokovic, and it was 6 feet too long. And that's an adjustment that I think that he could make if he's going to attempt that lob again. John, you might be frozen, or I might be frozen. Uh-oh. Folks, either you've lost me or we've lost John, but I'm just going to keep talking until I can hear him, because why the heck not? Pivotal game. pivotal. I don't think this thing's over yet. I think when you're 38 years old, hanging with a 19-year-old, you just never know when the cramp's going to come. You just never know when you're going to run out of gas. But we know that Tien is not going to, in all likelihood. Oh, wow. And then there was one. I guess we do know the answer. But alas, it was John's Wi-Fi. It's just us. Djokovic returning at 4-1. Jay, thank you for confirming. I thought that maybe I was going a little bit crazy there.
I'm back. For whatever reason, my internet just decided to have a break.
You've never been more back. Welcome back, John. We missed you.
Yeah. I think I am still sort of freezing from time to time, but you can at least hear me, I think.
You're freezing just like Lerner Tien is freezing in set number 3 here.
Yeah.
He's not hot at the moment. John, there are rumors that you previously entered into the Matrix.
Okay. You want me to dismiss those rumors? Reject them?
I'd like you to address them. If you want to dismiss them, that's up to you.
Oh, I see. Yeah, good point. Yep. Very good. Yeah, I can dismiss them as well and say that they are unfounded. And yeah, that's it. I was going to try and come up with something punchy there, but it didn't work, did I? I got unfounded. I needed a couple of other uns, but yeah.
It's like 4 a.m. where you are. I don't think that there's any expectation of punchiness at that point. It's like 9:30 and I'm getting sleepy.
I was hoping that I would be able to see who Alex Ayala's next opponent was, but Buxa and Liu are not playing until tomorrow. So yeah, just got to see who she's playing so I could talk about it. Oh, Bonzi's up a break on Medvedev.
Hey, is Medvedev like
I mean, this would be another low for him, but it's just been a year of lows.
I mean, look, he's 29, right?
Yeah, it might be 30, but it's weird, isn't it? But it's not. You wouldn't expect someone to be necessary because it's not necessarily a physical. I mean, he's 29. You're right. Yeah,
yeah.
It's not really a physical decline. It's just a results-based decline, and also there might be some physical issues with the serve. I've heard him mention over the last even maybe 3 years that he's been sort of working around some issues with his shoulder, I think.
Look, that's 29. That is historically when tennis players have slowed down until the big 3, right? Yeah. And they sort of reset the rules, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that things begin to return to more the historic norm. In basketball, in football, in baseball, in hockey, there are countless examples of modern recent players slowing down or facing a meaningful decline at 30. And in an individual sport, that's even more clear as Lerner Tien is not bringing the ruckus here and has another break point against him. Djokovic looking to really go throat.
I'm going to be gone and then come back again in 30 seconds. I'm just reconnecting to the Wi-Fi.
Perfect. If Djokovic gets this break here, I think grudgingly we're going to have to admit that the match is his. Tell me he didn't miss that. Tell me he didn't miss that. Oh, Lerner Tien with such a bad miss. The mid-court overhead sailed it a little bit. That's a targeting issue. That's a mistake of youth. I don't think that he misses that exact same shot next year because I'm not sure he takes that exact same shot next year, and I know that he targets it differently. Lerner Tien, it does not look like he's going to win this match, but boy, oh boy, in set number 2, did he give Novak Djokovic a scare? Potentially minutes away from calling it a broadcast. But as John pointed out earlier, potentially 2 hours because that's tennis. You just never know. Let's see if Djokovic can close it out here. A double Novak indeed, Matthew. All right. Just taking a sweet time to bounce this ball, get ready, really using up the clock. See, Tien leaves it short again on that last ball. There too. Not a great dropper attempt from Djokovic there.
Yeah, but this set has gone the way the first set, really, hasn't it, in the end?
Yep, it's true. It's true. It did. I will say it hasn't felt like the first set somehow. The first set just didn't feel competitive. This one, it has felt competitive. Tien just hasn't delivered in the big moments. Like that missed overhead was so sloppy.
Yeah.
Then again, actually thinking back to the first, maybe, yeah, there were hints of that as well. Medvedev down a set now, John.
He's lost that first set, yeah. So I see, yeah. Oh dear. I mean, the thing is with Medi is that he's, 2022 of him being a rough year after he lost that Australian Open final, obviously 2 sets to love up, and it was a rough year. I don't know how long he went without winning a title. I think he sort of might have won a couple of indoor titles towards the end of that year, but felt like a rough year and it felt like a rough period. But then at 2023, he wins the title in Rome to everyone's surprise, and Klaverdev becomes a thing. It's a good serve volley there from Novak. He gets to the US Open final of 23 as well, and he's still very much a factor at hard court slams, and also getting to semis, I think, at Wimbledon.
Yep. John, do you have your hair tied back, or did you get a cut recently? Oh, the suspense. John is gone. The haircut question, we just aren't going to know the answer until he returns, as Djokovic now has it at 30-all, 2 points away from either a break or going home. He's got a few opportunities here. Serve and volley yet again, and Tien misses on the return. We have our first match point of the evening, live from New York. It's Sunday night. Match point, Novak Djokovic. I'm going to try my best to talk y'all through this. He's bouncing. Serve into the net. Bounce. Getting ready. Ooh, Djokovic steps back from the line. Towels himself off with his wristband. No towel. Dries himself off, excuse me. Bounce. Here we go. He's just really taking his time with this one, which is his right.
Hopefully
he's taking his time. John is back to stay. Djokovic serves.
Hopefully.
And he's long. And he double faults on match point, which I can't imagine feels particularly good.
Shakes his head.
How does he always have perfect facial hair? John, before you left, we were asking, haircut, yes, no?
With me?
Yeah. Or is it tied up?
Haircut
oh, new look for John Silk. Oh my God, he's frozen again. Unbelievable. It's that German Wi-Fi. Get it together, Germany. Whoa! Just like Lerner, Tien got it together on that lob. Look at this. Not a great attempt by Djokovic on that passing shot or approach shot. Tien, as mentioned earlier, by the way, targeted the backhand on that lob attempt, which I think is the correct play. Basically, 100% of the time at all levels of tennis. Oh my goodness, he's got it. He's got the break. He's got the break
back. I wish I was here for the previous point, the one that went over Novak's head and landed just inside the baseline.
I was very pleased the lob went specifically after Djokovic's backhand side.
Yeah.
As we had discussed previously. Wow, man. I thought that match point was going to be
a double break. I'd be super pumped right now if they were back on serve, but yeah.
This is the kind of moment that the Djokovic of old just didn't have. He just didn't lose games like that. Especially at this stage of a tournament.
I just thought maybe, Lerner just needed that second set and had so many chances.
I mean, he got that break. In fact, I don't think he's held his serve in the second set. He's got 2 breaks. He broke Djokovic on the first game. Then he broke it again.
Yeah, right. His 2 games have been 2 breaks. Yeah.
Truly one hold of serve, and he's right in there.
Yeah.
John, you mentioned earlier the big return that Djokovic has, and that he's more able to go for it, or more willing to go for it with the tired legs.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think perhaps that also Tien has lost a touch on his serve, and so not only Is he going for it more? He's getting a little bit more to work with because look, he's been out there for 2.5 hours as well. That can't be easy on the body.
Yeah, maybe. I hadn't considered it. I just because I've felt that Lerner's serve has been vulnerable since minute one, as it often is anyway, especially against someone who's got the return game that Novak has. So, but there might be some stats out there that back that up. No, I hadn't noticed it with a casual observation. Anyway, 2-5, a holder serve here. Novak, of course, had a match point, but I was sort of in and out with my internet at the time, so I don't know how that panned out that particular point.
Double faulted. He double faulted on match point. Yes. I know.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
Yeah.
15 love, learning Tien. Look, regardless of whether he comes back in this set, this game has huge UTR ramifications.
UTR?
Yes, it's a rating system where every player who's played a competitive sanctioned match feeds into that, right? And so, mostly kidding, but an extra game here or there against Novak Djokovic very much does matter.
See. It gives you a boost on the UTR thing.
Yeah.
So when he goes back to his club, he can say, "Oh, I'm 4.5 or whatever it is."
Yes.
Oh, double fault Lerner.
Too many doubles here.
Yeah, he's hit a lot more than Novak. Novak, I'm going to say off the top of my head, has hit 2, and Lerner's probably at about 8, maybe. Which
That's just too many.
For straight sets, yeah, it's quite a lot.
Especially, I mean, look, if he's had a bunch of aces, that's one thing, but unless I missed it, he does not.
No. I think he has 0 aces as well. I think I saw a stat when it showed Novak's stats, it was like 0 for Lerner.
Somehow still feels like too many. And we've got another match point.
Yeah, there's a good return for Novak. Not an absolute unbelievable return, but Tien was just still finishing his service motion. So match point number 2, this time on return. So at least Novak can't double fault this one.
Let's see what he does.
Decent serve from Lerner, but still Novak's returning it really well. Lerner's in big trouble here. Big trouble. It lands out. It's the match. Novak has come through what was a real physical test, particularly in that second set.
How does he do this? How does he keep doing this?
He just needed that break. He needed that break. He needed that second set. He gets that. That both physically picks him up and demoralizes opponent, as well as the potion, the drink, and the whatever attention he got to his foot from the. He as soon as he came out, even though he lost his first game on his serve, by the time he was returning Lerner's serve in the next game, it was like, oh, he's back to square one again in a good way, at least for the next 15-20 minutes, and that might be all it takes, and that is exactly all it took for that 3 or 4 game spell from 1-love to 4-1. He was fine physically. I think if Lerner could have made that third set as physical as the second one, that would have been fascinating. And if we could have seen the same level of tennis that we saw from him as well in that second set, where he's just consistently hitting deep and troubling Novak, then we could have had a very interesting match, and he could have, won that second set somehow 7-5 or whatever. Of course, he also was up a break, but the first and third sets went very similar ways in that it just felt that Lerner was quite far off it. And yet the second set is what I know he can do, and he's done on a hard court for large parts of this year in those matches against Zverev and Medvedev and others on a hard court, João Fonseca in Miami, for example.
A day of what ifs for the young American. That being said,
he could do it for now, but he couldn't do it for 3.
Yep. That being said, it looks his talent was on display, and I think they had a nice exchange of the net there. And I don't know what Djokovic said, but I would imagine it's something to the effect of "You're going to have a great career." And Tien, you could see him smiling. Look, he does not remember a world without Novak Djokovic because he was born into a world in which Djokovic was already a top 100 player. When truly it's kind of a special thing to see the torch being handed off the way that it is right now with Djokovic, the last of that generation. I do continue to feel a touch bad for Tsitsipas, Medvedev, and Zverev, who more or less were passed over. John, if you're in Djokovic's box, What are you telling him after this match? What are your takeaways for him? What does he need to do differently?
I mean, first of all, the first thing I'd say is, look, and Novak will feel exactly the same as me. You've just got to come through this, you know. And I said that before the match even began, that I thought could be quite tricky. Secondly, thank goodness we've got a serve to lean on. Thank goodness we've got that in this part of your career. He's coming up against Spider in the next round, and I don't know a huge amount about him. So Novak's got an interesting draw, I would say. And as in, like, I've seen Novak have easy draws, I've seen him have tough draws, I've seen him win both tournaments despite his draw. His next round is very winnable, but then it could get very interesting because in the third round, it could be Mickelson, could be Korda. I would suggest those two would be interesting. He beat Korda in Miami earlier on this year, but I'm just going to share his path on the screen. I think fourth round might even be Djokovic for Kino. I forget who his fourth round potentially is, but it's a tricky first week. The news for Novak from the draw was that he's in the same half as Carlos. That was sort of the first take, is where is Novak falling? Is he falling in Carlos's or Yannick's half? Carlos, you know, I think he has a chance. He's beaten him on a hard court earlier this year in Australia. Obviously beat him as well last season on a clay court for the Olympic gold medal. Whereas we've just watched him play Yannick, and I think in the last 3, 6, 8 sets against Yannick, he hasn't won a set. So, and it might even go back, the stretch of sets in a row might even be as many as 10 or so in Yannick's favor. I'm not sure, including previous matches. So we have seen a similar pattern there where they're two very similar players in the way they play, but right now and probably forever, Yannick will always be just that bit better. Whereas Carlos will always give you a chance, both in the way that, you know, as I say, his concentration can go, but also the way he plays so aggressively. So that was the first sort of take. Oh, that's pretty good for Novak. But then I looked at his draw, and obviously the immediate match with Lerner, I already, you know, bigged up Lerner's chances. And if Lerner could have produced what he did in the second set throughout, I think this could have been a very different encounter. But I also then looked at his draw as I was going through it in more detail on Friday. I was like, oh, Mickelson or Korda in round 3. I think he will beat them. But I think if Mickelson wins the first 2 rounds, he'll be in, and I think he could be he could be another one that, you know, a Brooksby-esque type opponent that really Novak could do without.
And then I think especially he wants anybody but Mickelson. Totally agree.
And then the fourth round, oh, that's right, fourth round, even worse, could be Holger Rune. Now Holger's got quite a nice draw, I think, in terms of at least he's got Botic van der Zandschulp in the first round. So unlike other years when Holger's been vulnerable early on, could be Francis Tiafoe. Those are the 2 heavyweights in that section. I think Holger, again, you know, is someone who will probably be physically stronger than Novak. So he
can get 4 Americans in a row, by the way.
Yeah, he could well do if he gets Francis. He could get Francis, he could get Dam, or he could get Blanche, or he could get McDonald. They're all in this next section, and he could well get Sebi Korda or Mickelson before. Yeah. So I think it's a really good chance that he gets another American, because I think Mickelson and Korda are the 2 most likely third round opponents. Comisania, I don't think will be there, and I don't think Cam Norrie will either. If it's Cam Norrie, by the way, or Comisania, then Novak's in round 4. But I think Mickelson, Korda could be an issue.
I would love to see Blanche get a win. I don't really think, even though he's only 17 years old, I don't think he's gonna, but it'd be nice to see him get one of those under his belt at a major. He is a real talent. I think the future is bright for American tennis right now, and we've already got some really, really fun players. If he can continue to fulfill his potential, we've got another really, really good one. Future top 10 guy, if he can fulfill his potential.
All right, just want to talk to you about one second round match, and then we'll bring this to a close. I'm sharing it on the screen with you right now. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So we've got we've got 2 former US Open semi-finalists battling it off in round 2 in the form of Pablo Carreño Busta against Ben Shelton. Of course, Ben Shelton in the semi-final in 2023. Carreño Busta was in the semi-final in 2020, courtesy, of course, of a Novak Djokovic ball incident with a line judge, if you remember that. And that was against Carreño Busta. And actually, funny enough, one of the cases against Novak in that whole melee was context, because okay, either way, you know, I think it's a default, but just in terms of I think he'd either just lost the first, I know he'd just been broken. And so I'm telling you now, if he doesn't lose his serve, that doesn't happen. He does it. He's not like, it's not super aggressive, but he does do that as in like, oh, just been broken, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, it could go in a million different places. And much like the boot that Alex Ferguson once kicked and it landed on, it could have gone a million directions, but it just went right on David Beckham's head.
Yep.
And David Beckham, for the next few days, was out in his car with his hair brushed back so everyone could see it. He was driving around Manchester, desperately trying to find the paparazzi. Well, so that lady who fell to the floor like she'd just been hit by Muhammad Ali as well. Anyway, that was a huge tangent, but Pablo Carreño Busta has got other achievements as well in his career, and he'll be hoping to repeat some of these feats, and maybe he'll even need a Ben Shelton default to get through, because Ben Shelton is obviously the hot favorite in this one, right?
I think that I'm setting the over-under for games won for PCB, it's like 8.5, and I'm taking the under. Ooh. I think Shelton rolls, man. Shelton's good. Shelton is in the process of making the leap, and I don't know if this is going to be the tournament where he formally does it, but he is absolutely in my top 4. It's number 1. It's for me. It's always going to be Alcaraz. It should be center, but it is Alcaraz. Center number 2, Djokovic, because you just never know. And then I got Shelton. I got him above Zverev, Medvedev, certainly Tsitsipas, Rune, Rude, all those guys. Shelton is the guy.
We did a power rankings, Brenner and myself, ahead of the tournament, and I think I had Shelton at 5. I had Zverev at 4, just because Zverev's Grand Slam pedigree. I mean, even though Zverev's year has been hit and miss, he was still in an Australian Open final this year.
Yeah,
he is still the 3rd best player in the world in terms of the 12 monthly rankings. He is somebody who's been in a French Open final. He's been in a US Open semi-final. And I know Ben has done a US Open semi-final and Australian Open semi-final himself as well. But he's just, his career has got a lot more stuff that says you can at least probably rely on me on a hard court at least to go deep. This is before the draw. But either way, I also don't disagree with you. I think it's clear who the favorite is. It's clear who the second favorite is. Then things get a little more interesting, but you have to go with Djokovic at 3. Funny enough, I think I had Ben at 5. So it was interesting. Our 4, 5, and 6 were mixed. So I had Zverev at 4, Ben at 5, Taylor at 6. He went for Taylor at 4, Berner, and I think Zverev at 5, Ben at 6. But I just moved Ben up slightly because I did change it over the few weeks. Winning that, of course, that tournament in Canada, which was like, who is the best of the rest right now? And Ben won that little mini tournament. And in fact, Ben beat Taylor en route to the title as well in Canada.
Yes.
So, who is, aside from the top 3 who weren't there, because Novak didn't play Canada, nor did Carlos or Yannick, who is there going to say, look, I'm here? And I also think he has the game, like a peak Ben Shelton is there or thereabouts. I think a peak Ben Shelton beats a peak Taylor Fritz. It's just that Taylor Fritz's floor is probably slightly higher than Ben's. But that's Ben's big story chances. I'll give him over the 8.5 games that you sort of spoke about. They did play each other, funny enough, in Australia early on this year. I wasn't aware. And I see things been a bit closer. In Australia, it was pretty close as well. It was 4 sets that Ben won that match. And I, in my bracket, did have PCB to win his first round match, and he did win it in straight sets over the span. But it was also draw related. I was like, that's not a bad draw for Yamas Ruiz. I did just dip into that match earlier as well to see Pablo Carreño Busta win the tiebreak, then go up an early break. He threatened to go up a double break in that second set, but he didn't need it. He just needed the one break to go over the line there, and then ultimately got the double break in the third. So a nice draw for PCB a first round, because I think otherwise he would have been vulnerable as a non-seed. And I do see Ben progressing, and I do see him progressing in straight sets, but I'll give him more than 8.5. I can see maybe a tiebreak necessary, or a 7-5 or something en route to a straight sets victory. Any final counter from you on this particular match before we bring this stream to a close?
Ooh, just one thing I'll point out is that neither you or Brenner had Draper in your top 6 or 7.
Right.
And I think that's interesting. You know, I think that's the correct call. I know that
I got Draper at 10. I think he had him at maybe 7 or 8.
The talking tennis community is so split on Draper's upside, and it's fascinating. And I guess that's the last thing I'll add.
Sure. I got some grief off James last week for actually a misinterpreted take, in my opinion. He said about Paolini. The comment I made about Paolini was she could go out first round or she could make the semis. And that applies to 98% of the tour, as in there's only 2 players on the women's side that I trust in terms of the early rounds, and they are Iga and Arena. This is before the draw, and then once the draw was made, well, actually, no, so it was just after the draw was made. But whatever. Just Paolini, her record at slams this year, I think, is round 4, round 3, round 2. So, you know, she's not this year, at least, showing a great pedigree. But that's all. I also know Jasmine's, you know, unbelievable level that she can bring, and she brought it at times in Cincinnati. So anyway, but the point is this: it sounds like a tangent, but actually, I think he doesn't give a flying proverbial about my comments on Jasmine Paolini, but he does about Jack Draper. That's what that's all about. It's a bit of a red herring, the Paolini thing. He's just annoyed with me because of I think I just said that Draper played poorly in the mixed doubles defeat that they had. And he did, and Jack even said so himself in an interview. I think actually when they won a set in that match, because they did like on-court interview with him after winning the first set. There was what's his name from the Nothing Major podcast, Sam Querrey, I think, said, "Oh, well, you know, just as typical something. Oh, well done, Jack, for winning that set." And he said, "I didn't play well, but fortunately, Jessica did, so we got that first set." And he didn't have a great match. And I made a comment and he didn't respond, but I thought, James, your Paolini comment is because you're annoyed at me criticizing Jack. Or maybe also having Jack at 10 in my power rankings. And the reason why, just before we do go, the reason why he's at 10 for me and a little is also because he's not played since Wimbledon. So he was always in that sort of group that if there was just somebody like a De Minaur wins Washington, that sort of puts him down a bit, or somebody else has a good run elsewhere, and suddenly he's going below them as well. And Hatchinov has been mega consistent throughout the North American swing. So
Hatchinov's looking good, man.
Both those two went ahead of him.
Yeah. One thing I do want to ask you before we get out of here. Speaking of, you mentioned Jessica Pegula earlier, and that's obviously the next match coming up. Fergus said this was mean. I stand by it, and I'm curious if you agree. I said she was the least intimidating 4 seed in recent memory.
Okay.
And that there's not a player, there are very few players who think I can't figure out a way to get it done. Doesn't mean they're gonna. She's a very talented player. She gets a lot of wins, but I don't think that she is intimidating hardly anybody. And I think if you're going to get a top 6 seed, that's who you want. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, although I can see why Fergus would say that's a bit harsh, I think you'll probably get, because you go into like a clay or a grass court slam, and you know, these 12 monthly rankings are based on whatever, you know, like, so let's say Zverev was seeded 3 for Wimbledon, but he's a long way away from being the 3rd most likely winner. And he lost first round, I think. So you'll have those sort of, you know, suddenly you'll go into a slam where, especially on the natural surfaces, where it's just like, you know what, your ranking might be 5 in the world, but you are not the 5th best grass court player in the world by a long way, you know? So you get that sometimes. But what I will say about Jessica is, and this is, I mean this actually as a compliment, because she's still getting some pretty good results. I don't think I've seen her play her best tennis consistently since the US Open a year ago. I was saying it for about 3, 4, 5 months, and that just kept going on and on. She picked up some titles. I think she might have won Charleston, and she might have won one of those tournaments just before Indian Wells. But those, no disrespect to Winston-Salem, for example, those tournaments just before a slam, as fun as they can be, and as mega as it is to win them, as it is for Martin Fucsovics, for example, last week, they are a little bit of, they don't really tell us. A 250 in October will tell us a lot more than a 250 just before a Grand Slam, if that makes sense, or a 250 somewhere else, or a 500 somewhere else. You know, the Barcelonas and you know, for example, the Barcelona and the Munich ones before, you know, in the middle of the clay court season, they tell us a lot about where players are at. These other ones sort of can be a little bit deceiving. And so that's where Pegula has picked up her titles, for example, just before Indian Wells and elsewhere. I think she's got certainly got a nice first round, because Sharif on a clay court might be problematic for Jessica. I'm telling you now, on a hard court, even as badly as I think Jessica has been playing. And I know she won Bad Homburg, for example. In fact, that Bad Homburg result actually did make me think, oh, okay, maybe the old Jessica's back. And I think I had I'm not sure if it was semis or in the final at Wimbledon. And she went out first round, shockingly.
Yeah.
Went out first round. So, yeah, so I hope I'm not I'm probably slightly on your side in that I think, yeah.
She knows how to win ugly, I think is one of the things that you're touching on, right? Like she does not have to play her best to get wins against good players. And that is a real skill. It's something the big three could do on the men's side. It's something Sabalenka can do, Iga can do. And so she's able to kind of raise her floor. But yeah, the ceiling, I mean, there's a bunch of players on their A game that beat her.
Yeah, she's got a game. So here's another huge compliment. She's got a game a little bit like Yannick Sinner's. She hits a little bit flatter than some of her peers. She also hits quite aggressively and pretty hard, but with that margin as well. You know, she's not mega error prone. She's pretty reliable as well. And until this last 12 months, I also relied on her to win matches that she should win. This last year has been a bit different. Anyway, before my internet packs up again, because I can see my TV. Oh, it's back. Okay, it's back to normal. I am going to call this a day or a night or a morning, actually. 4 o'clock in the morning, Zach. For
oh,
me,
my goodness.
For you. You're an early bird normally as well, so this is quite late for you, but 4 a.m., my goodness. Anyway, I'll speak to you soon, Zach. Wonderful to share this stream with you. It was a lot of fun for a set. And that set gave us something. I mean, who could have had 3 drab sets? But on Novak goes, and he'll face another American in the form of Svider next. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Zach.
Thanks so much for having me, John. As always, it was a blast.
And to everybody else, you know the drill.
Subscribe.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.